Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Midday Market Madness. Now, uh, actually, I should say monitor today. It's not too bad. We're having a good day. We look at Meta up 3.9%. I had a stream, I swear, okay? I had a stream last night with Stephen Fiorillo. If you guys were there, you will know. This man called exactly what Meta needed to do. He called it to more of an extreme. He said essentially they should shut down their metaverse products. But they essentially came out and said, "Hey, we're going to be reducing the spend on the metaverse." They sort of turned it into a very good reason. They said there's no competition, so we don't need to spend so much. But the reality is it's just not, in my opinion, yielding as much as they would want it to. Okay. It's not the next Steam or Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, it's fun, but then people sort of leave it. Like, I don't know people. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are there a lot of people who have purchased VR headsets and are constantly putting it on, telling their friends about it? Or is it like a vanity item that was really cool and then you sort of put it in your closet and you haven't tried it since? Because that's my assumption. I don't see a lot of people like, oh, I can't wait to get back on my VR today. Yeah. Happy Thursday indeed, Ed. Good to see you. It's fun for a while. Yeah. I'm not even saying that the product's on the VR. Like I've tried it, a while ago for stuff like Beat Saber and stuff like this. It is fun. Like it definitely is. But I don't know if people are just constantly getting it and using it. I purchased 2 Ray-Ban Meta prescriptions, and I love them. Nice. Okay. You said SoFi starting to pump because Tanner's streaming? Oh, wow. I mean, hey, it must be. It must be. Now, what's very funny is that Meta is, SoFi is seeing quite the reaction today. Yesterday, we ended up seeing the fireside chat, which kind of bled into the market close. And what we ended up noticing is that the market noticed was that Chris Lapointe talked about 2026 guidance as potentially being on the lower end of the 55 to 80 cents. So he's sort of talking about the guidance actually coming in around 55 cents rather than 80. People are freaking out about this online. Okay. The stock doesn't seem to care because Anthony Noto already talked about this back in May. If we remember correctly, and I can actually pull up the exact transcript, he had talked about this a while ago, where he said, if we do get up to 80 cents, it's because we didn't see a lot of growth opportunities, so we didn't reinvest. But if we see a ton of growth opportunities and we really can take advantage of, our investments are just leading to massive customer acquisition. Like if we end up seeing low customer acquisition that is leading to high average revenue per user, we're just going to keep pouring back into that. Why would we try to go for high EPS during those times whenever we could get, potentially 4 million new users a year? Like that would be way more exciting for us. So the fact that Chris Lapointe said that they're leaning more towards 55 cents is, one, on par with what they've said previously, and two, actually bullish for overall growth. Okay. Let's see here. If I can, okay. I think this is it. I know it's this, this conversation, but I don't know if this is the exact part. I haven't read ahead a little bit. So we gave a 3-year outlook and earnings range for 2026 EPS. We want to continue to drive 30+% member growth, continue to drive revenue to mid to high 20s, which we talked about before, and 30% incremental EBITDA margin. We want to make sure that we're investing in the business and making sure we have a future growth and planting those seeds and not just driving profitability. Where is the actual part where he says it, though? As we think about the potential, someone asked about the 55 to 80 cents in 2026 and why it's such a big deal. This is not the exact scenario because there are many different situations. I'm not even going to try permutations. I did try. But you can imagine the 80 cents being a scenario where our growth slows more than what we would like, and it's going into beyond 2026. If it's in the low 20s and maybe going into high teens, he's talking about the growth rate there. There is an environment where we're going to drive a lot more profitability, probably even profitability on our long-term margins because the growth isn't there. We can't keep investing in growth if it's not there, so we'll drop it down to profitability. On the lower end of the spectrum, at the 55 cents of the spectrum, we see that being as higher growth environment where we're going to drive into the 20% growths and it being, pretty stable. And the investment justifies to keep investing in the future to have longer revenue growth and therefore longer earnings potential. So the 55 cents, even though I butchered that entire reading, and I really do apologize, essentially boils down to the lower end of EPS is actually higher growth and more sustained earnings. Everyone talks about EPS growth sometimes like, PayPal's flat on earnings, but their EPS growth is 20%. That's very, very good. A company can only sustain 100% margins. That's, the highest they could possibly get. No company is doing it. Okay. So the thing is that sales, like sales on the top line solves all problems going down. What we would love is a company that's growing in revenue, and then on top of that, as another additional S-curve, that they are improving margins. But the company's stagnant revenue growth is the first sign that they're failing. EPS might continue to grow afterwards, but without sales, you're never going to get higher and higher, EPS forever. Margins can't continue to expand forever because it caps out at 100%. Okay? So the trick is here for SoFi, focus on the top line growth. Everything else is extra. Even though they're guiding potentially to the lower end, which was just reiterated with Chris LaPointe's conversation, I still bet they will beat that. Okay? Because SoFi always does. But we want top line growth to be extremely successful. If you were to tell me, hey, Tanner, would you want a company growing at 20% with 30% EPS margins, or would you want or 30% EPS growth, or would you want a company growing at 30% with 20% EPS growth? I mean, I would take the 30%, 100, like completely, especially in banking, because those customers are lifetime customers. So you can always improve margins afterwards. Okay. Guidance isn't guidance outside of an earnings call. It definitely is. It might not be the true guidance, but if a CEO is telling you what they believe is guidance going forward, I mean, you would be blind to ignore those types of comments. CoreWeave is running. Let's take a look. CoreWeave is running up 9.3%. And Nebius, which we just bought more yesterday, is up to 101, up 2.9%. So pretty crazy, the movements that we've been seeing on Nebius. Is RCAT a small market cap company that I would look into? Not necessarily. Red Cat is just not really, not something that I'm following. But I am aware that some of these drone names are really interesting. I'm just not taking a share in them right now. I don't understand how those companies are going to, potentially have like some extraordinary advantage over like the big defense names. Like for certain companies, their traditional architecture, like if we're talking about ICE vehicles going to EVs, those EV transitions is very hard because you'd have to retool all of your factories and everything. It's just like hard for them to start something new. I don't really see that in defense. And there is a lot of drone companies that are emerging, but I think that there's probably a handful of very special ones, and not all of them are created equal. So, not sure. Commercial TAM? Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing. That could be very big. I'm not. I'm not really following the space. Um, why isn't Nubank in the S&P 500? My understanding would be that they're not an American company. Yeah, I'll wait on Andril. I'd take a stake in Andril, depending on the valuation. But clearly, they've proven that they can break out. Okay. Let's see. UiPath up 22.5% here. ASTS up 19%. Bloom Energy up 15%. That is absolutely crazy what we've just seen here on Bloom. Very, very cool. Okay. Oklo up 14.7%. Big Bear AI up 14%. NVNI up 14%. SMR up 14% as well. A lot of these names actually for like Bloom and Oklo and SMR and stuff, I would imagine is a run on what Jensen said yesterday on how many of these large like hyperscaler companies are just going to have to have their own energy generation. Like they're just going to be so big that they're going to need these SMRs to create 100 megawatts of power just to run individual data centers, or at least, power a percentage of that. Or if you're overdoing it, then sell that back to the grid. I thought that was quite interesting. So obviously, there's going to be big runs here, but it is crazy that all the big names, including, Better Homes and Rigetti and IonQ, like we are just seeing Figure as well. This is just a complete retail pump today. On the other end, let's see what's not working. Snowflake, Intel, Affirm, Micron, Costco, Adyen caught in there as well. That's quite incredible. Rubrik tonight has earnings along with Sentinel One. Let's see where Sentinel One is at as well. Sentinel One is up 0.7%. Okay. Netflix, where's Netflix? Down 1.3%. I mean, supposedly they have the top bid for the Warner Brothers Discovery acquisition. Something was leaked or rumored that they had offered a 85% cash deal with the remaining being stock options. As a consumer, I love the idea that Netflix buys more, IP and they end up giving me a better selection of movies and series and stuff like this. Like as a consumer, that's great. As a business, I don't know how much I like that. The fact that they just have to keep spending egregious amounts to broaden the spectrum of content. Like whenever I think about like YouTube as a competitor, it's like all content that they pay for is paid equally. Every single creator from the smallest person all the way up to Mr. Beast, big Jimmy Beast up there at the top. They pay for the exact same price. There's no speculation. There's no assuming that one thing is going to be more viral than another. It's all just bang. I like that. That's a good business model for me to believe in. President Beast, yeah. Jimmy Donaldson. He also is creating sort of a Beast Financial competitor, a Mr. Beast bank, which I think is quite interesting. Hopefully he works with Galileo on those types of products, but we'll have to see. Okay. Rockefeller Beast. He definitely could use Galileo. That's what they're for. Mr. Beast is a weirdo. This is the same thing that I've said about like all those hyper hyper productive people, they're all a little bit weird. I think Jimmy's got his head screwed on properly. I'm not anti Mr. Beast at all. Okay. Chime is up as well, 23.50. Netflix is literally run as I'm talking, the dip is being purchased like crazy. But yeah. Okay. Chime up another 4%, 23.44. All right. Can you do a market close in place of Amit? Is Amit not live tonight? I wasn't planning on it, but I could be persuaded to talk about or to listen to the rubric call. He's not on? Liked your BM&R video today. Yeah, I was just trying to highlight that there's been more purchases and quite a lot on a individual day basis. It was quite a large purchase. Got to stay on. That's a long stream though. For me to listen to Rubric's call at 5 o'clock to 6, start my shift at 1. A bunch of people who work 8 hours are like, Tanner, come on. But also, guys, if you guys have your YouTube top 5 channels or whatever, and I am potentially on that top 5 and above Amit, okay, please post that on X and at Amit, because every single time that he places above me, he is laughing and he's sending them to me and he's rubbing it in my face. And you know what the truth is? I was his number 1. And this guy is throwing it in my face that he is number 1 on some people's and I'm number 2. Absolute disgrace. How do you check? Honestly, I'm not very sure. I think you need it on the cell phone. I think that's where you see the recap. Tanner, you were above Amit. Bob, I saw yours. You're a cult leader. In the future investing cult, you placed very high, brother. Amit's here lurking in chat. Honestly, you can check if he's lurking. There's a little trick to check if someone's lurking. Here, wait. I shouldn't have said that. He's going to click away now. I should have kept my mouth shut and checked if he was here. If you type an @ into chat, he's not here. No, he's not here. If you type an @ into chat, you can @ someone. That's how you know that they're watching. It won't let you @ Amit if he's not here. So you can check if someone's lurking. Unless he's watching on another channel or whatever, but yeah. Let's go. You guys are so funny. Posting on X already. Yeah, Mitt, how do you like this? Get at me, bro. Do you guys want to know the real truth? I don't think it counts live streams. Amit would be on top of everyone's list if it counted live streams. But I don't think it does. And also, Jeremy Lefebvre was your 2nd and 4th most watched asleep list, so he probably has me beat. You guys have to @ Amit, though. You guys have to... What are you guys doing? Vandros, enough, bro. He's putting Amit above me. Oh, that's sickening. Okay, let's get back to the content. No, I like Jeremy. Okay. I don't think it does count live streams. Yeah, because Amit would be above me on almost everyone's list, I think. Okay. That said, let's take a look at some of these videos here because I wanted to see kind of talk about prediction markets. By the way, I'm definitely on Amit's camp on this one. I am very positive on prediction markets. I don't think that I personally would use them for sports gambling or anything like that. I think there's a lower % chance of success, but as tools to potentially hedge a portfolio, you know, take advantage of mispriced bids. Like, anyway, Vlad will talk about it in this video, but he puts up a good point about how markets are all, all markets are essentially speculation, and that just because it's speculation doesn't make it a gamble.
November was,
or at least I shouldn't say that. I should say a bad gamble, like one that would potentially hurt you.
the biggest month yet for prediction markets at Robinhood, with more than 3 billion contracts traded. Join us right now with Vlad Tenev, Robinhood CEO and co-founder, of course. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So,
Good morning.
We often talk about the Kalshus of the world, and we talk about the poly markets of the world, but we should be talking about Robinhood, I think, increasingly in
You don't
this
give
world.
us enough attention. For
So
sure.
my question to you about prediction markets is, what does this all ultimately look like? Meaning, A, who's using it and how are they using it? But B, are there going to be 10, 20 firms that basically are doing this in different ways? Is it all going to be merged up into 2 or 3 of them? What does this look like in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, 2 things there. One thing a lot of people don't understand about prediction markets is actually a relatively small percentage of the customers that are interacting with prediction markets are actually trading. The much bigger use case is as a source of information, almost as a complement or alternative to the news. And that's why you see a lot of news networks starting to integrate prediction markets into their reporting. I think prediction markets are going to change the world for the better. Perhaps they already have. And the ability to price any event accurately, I think, solves a big problem that we've had for multiple decades, which is we're flooded with all of this information. Anyone can produce content and share an opinion, but how do you get to the ground truth?
It's interesting you're thinking about it more, and tell me, maybe I'm wrong. Are you thinking about it as an economic vehicle? Meaning, when I say economic vehicle, something as an exchange or a company like yours that creates a profitable business because millions and millions and millions of people ultimately are actually trading in the prediction market? Or is it the funnel of data that's coming off of it that ultimately is more valuable?
I think that in terms of what's valuable for society, the funnel of data is much more interesting because, whereas only, let's say, hundreds of thousands of people will actually want to trade what's happening in the election, the information of who's likely to win an election is something that affects hundreds of millions.
But I guess that's where I'm going with this. Ultimately, do you think it really is only hundreds of thousands of people who will trade this stuff? Or do you think it actually turns into be a much larger business, the trading of it unto itself?
What we're starting to see is that, at Robinhood, we started with 1 contract a little bit under a year ago, which was the presidential election contract. And now we have over 1,500, I think maybe even 2,000 or more. And that's going to continue to grow. And it's going to continue to get more specialized and granular. So I think it will, in aggregate, increase the total number of traders because, the products allow you to specialize. Relative to other derivative products, they have pretty clear resolution criteria. You can kind of understand when the contract resolves positively or negatively, and you don't have to worry about your exit point, The exit point is sort of like put free. So, but I think for any individual contract, the number of traders might not be huge, but in aggregate, there's going to be lots more contracts.
The other prediction market question I have that I've been thinking a lot about is, I know a couple people now who say they're playing the prediction market as a hedge against other things that they're doing. Meaning they might own stocks in something, but they're using the prediction market as a hedge against those things, which made me start to think, well, then when we see the results of a prediction market scenario, is that a believable scenario if, in fact, somebody's trading it to actually offset something else?
Yeah. Well, every derivatives market has 3 participants. You have the speculators, who are trying to predict the price. You have hedgers that are offloading risk. And then you have arbitrageurs who are connecting all the different markets together. And I think for a functional market, there has to be equilibrium of those. You can't just have people hedging, to your point, because then it won't reflect the, it wouldn't be an effective price if it wouldn't be as effective of a hedge without speculators. And I think that's another thing that people don't understand. Speculation is actually integral to the functioning of any market.
You do need some speculation.
Yeah, the thing is, can you have the equilibrium of all of those? And I do think, to your first question, it's going to evolve similarly to other equities and derivatives markets, where there will be a lot of exchanges. And I think Robinhood benefits in that world because a lot of exchanges means lots of choice for us as the broker, ultimately better pricing, more competition for the customer. And like we do on the crypto side or the equity side, we connect to dozens of different venues and market makers and route to whoever offers the best selection and price.
Predicting weather and betting on it is pretty wild. I honestly don't think so. Not if you're a meteorologist. Like, it all depends on your alpha. You know, for me to bet on the weather, I mean, come on. I don't even think I have a weather app on my phone. Like, I think I've deleted it. I don't even check the weather. I look outside. So I'm not going to predict weather. But some are. And some would have an advantage. I think that's literally how Dustin Moskovitz made all of his money. No, that's not true. He made all of his money betting on Facebook. But before, what allowed him to sort of raise the starter capital for Facebook was betting on oil futures because he could predict the weather. I'm pretty sure that's the real background story. So yeah. That said, another thing that I really like about prediction markets that isn't talked about enough is how easy they are to understand. There's no confusion here. I find with options, you almost need to take courses and stuff like this to understand some of the intricacies of options markets. Prediction markets are very simple. You know, what do you think is going to happen at this date? And there is a live price that is changing as the, odds of that prediction turning out to be true by that end date changes over time, and you can get out at any time. But understanding the actual contract, I guess, is much better. Okay. You saw the Google guy insider trading on Polymarket. Yeah, but that's not a reason to. That's a change of regulation. Like, this does not change prediction markets at all. All they need to integrate is to say, hey, prediction markets betting would be similar to you selling or buying stock on the outcome of those decisions. That's as simple as that. Then it's tracked just like insider trading would be. That does need to change, but that doesn't mean that prediction markets aren't real. It doesn't matter what the Google guy was doing. Essentially, I can already assume he was an engineer or something. I've never even heard this story, but I bet I already know. He was an engineer or something. He knew a product was going to be released. He bet on that product being released by a certain date, probably the Gemini 3 announcement, if I were to guess, and got it correct because he was an insider. Did I get it right? I bet I got it right. The Don McGill. Thank you for the buck. Appreciate it. Gambling will always be real. Yeah. Yep. It just feels dystopian. We're funneling money into predicting weather instead of global warming, or into weather and not a war would start instead of stopping it. It's wishful thinking, but still. Yeah, but it's individual people's money, right? We don't think as a collective. So if you want to donate to a certain cause, that's your right to. But if I want to go put all mine on blackjack, that's sort of the beauty of living in a free country. I get to do what I want with my money, other than paying taxes. You got to do that. You don't get a choice about that. That's the only difference, I guess. Okay. I can hedge the Fed's decision ahead and what I can anticipate the market to do on my long positions based on outcomes. Yeah. And I for real think that people are going to be wrong, and I could be wrong. I was talking about this the other day. Like I have high conviction plays, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right. Like, I hope that I'm right. I'm doing enough research to hopefully put the odds in my favor, but that doesn't, like, you could do all the research that you want in the world. It doesn't make you right. So we can hope. But my prediction would be for prediction markets is that industry is going to legitimately 1000x. Like, it will be everything. Everything will be prediction markets. You're going to, it will expand the same way that I think equity markets are going to expand. Like, there will be prediction market funds. I think it'll be very popular. I predict that your prediction market bet about predictions will be wrong. Create a market. And then make me right. I guarantee you there's going to be prediction market funds. There's sports gambling things, like there's certain people that think that they have an edge, so people will bet with other people that have high percentage wins on gambling. There's funds, there's active traders and prop firms and all of these things. It's going to be no different. What's a prediction market fund? Well, you put your money with somebody that they think that they can return more. Yeah. Meta. Okay, well, first off, let's see if there's a company that's going to do well on Hood, or do well for these prediction markets. Might be Hood up 2.5%, 137. What a recovery from, earlier dips, which, by the way, let's not forget all the people, okay? All the people who said, we're heading lower, things are a disaster right now. And they still might be. They still might be proven right, but on the wrong timeline, which still makes you wrong. If you were to have, you can literally be right in investing on the wrong timeline and still lose all your money. There are investors who are too early. That said, the market is doing quite well. Yeah, what is TQQQ looking like over the last little bit? We ended up touching 45, back up to 55. Pretty good little bounce. 60 to 45, back to 55. Yeah, that's wild. But we could just look at the triple Qs as well. Guess we didn't need to look at triple Qs, but still, this is quite the scare that had people worried that tech was dead, that some of these companies, which still haven't even recovered. What's Oracle at right now? Yeah, 213. Look at them in the last 3 months. 345 whenever they ended up showing off earnings, and a massive remaining performance obligation with OpenAI, ended up dropping down to 185, and a very, very small recovery from 185 to 213. But 2 days and SoFi will be into the S&P 500. We hope so, but I honestly would put it on a very low percent, like maybe like 15% or something. But it's still very much a possibility. What did ZW say? The Roaring 20s got some legs left in it? Yeah, very much so. And in fact, I don't see how it doesn't if we get a new Fed president and rates get cut. and then you want to top that up with names like SoFi or maybe even VRT or something like this that could potentially be getting entered into the S&P 500. It's like, what do you think the amount of catalyst that you need in order to make an investment something that you would take? Like SoFi to me is just like, I don't know. We've got S&P catalysts, we have rate cut catalysts, quantitative easing, new Fed president, which is just going to be, bumping that rate cut decision, not only for December 10th, but then into 2026 as well, continuing that case. That sounds pretty bullish to me. So yeah, I'm overall bullish on names like SoFi, for example, which are up 0.6% today. However, what the heck is this? We started our live stream, it went up. This is the I don't know, reverse V. Guys, don't subscribe to me for technical analysis. I promise you, I don't follow. Best healthcare stock to own now. I couldn't tell you a single thing. I was on a conversation with Stephen Fiorillo yesterday. I don't even think I know what a healthcare company is. I was confusing it with pharma names. To me, I kind of lump those in as the same sort of thing. So no idea. Don't follow the industry at all. Thoughts on Salesforce? Big fan. I think the idea that sort of enterprise AI is going to be done by different companies that are, that massive industries are not working with today might not be a true statement, or at least might not be as big of a shift as people think. And the risk reward on Salesforce is quite interesting because it's obviously sold off a ton and it's a pretty cheap name just on a valuation perspective. So whenever you couple that with better growth, rise in artificial intelligence products like Agentforce, I can't help but be bullish. I love Mark Benioff. I think they're financially very strong. Yeah. Him's up today. I think they acquired another company. They've acquired like 2 companies this week, if I'm not mistaken. And they just acquired a Canadian, I think it was a blood testing company, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to see. What was it? Which I think they're trying to get me LiveWell. Canadian telehealth business LiveWell. Which they want to use to accelerate the launch into Canada. LiveWell has a focus on weight loss, but also offers things like birth control, acne, erectile dysfunction, and smoking satiation products. And Hims and Hers have acquired .ca domains. Interesting. If this is true, okay, I'm from Canada. If they brought Hims Labs to Canada, I think I would be a lifetime subscriber. I love seeing blood results and those sort of things. I love keeping an eye on that information. I hate going to the doctor. Okay. If they had charged me $300, $500 a year, something like this, to just constantly get blood work done from them and have that information sent to me, even if they're trying to cross-sell me into other products, like, I don't know, maybe a testosterone thing or something like this. If they think I have low T, a bunch of you guys think I have low T, probably do. That I would probably cross-sell into some of those products. And yeah, I'm not an investor, but I could definitely well be a client. I'm not trying to buy Hims, though. I will not buy this company just because I don't know anything about this business or its competitive advantages versus its, yeah. Anyway. I bet Tanner is about 450 nanograms. No, bro. I honestly do think I have low testosterone. Not because No, I honestly, I think I have done a blood test a while ago, and my testosterone was something like 250 or something. Like it was really low comparatively to my age. Oh wow, dude, CNBC just partnered with Kalshi. So that's CNN and CNBC in day after day. Yeah, you should juice. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I do have low T. So I've definitely thought about are you paid up? No, I just think it's like a genetic thing almost. Like even Alex Hormozy, if you guys know him as well, he also has very low T. But look at the guy. Like you tell me if he looks low testosterone. He doesn't look low testosterone. Which now I think he is actually on roids, which I'm not willing to do. But would I do TRT or something like this? Like probably like in my late 30s or something? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I gotta ice the boys more. Based on your voice and hairline, your T is normal. Yeah, I mean the hairline is helping, but this is pulling back. It's been a while since I've tested. It's probably been like, I don't know, probably coming up on 2 years. So maybe things have changed, but yeah. I think you guys have no clue about testosterone. It's not a like, I work out almost every day. You know, if I'm not working out like extremely hard, I'll do some sort of maintenance workout just to make sure that the blood's flowing. You know, get 25 minutes in, something like this, and not really breaking too much of a sweat. But like on days that I'm not feeling it at all, I still end up having those maintenance days. Between that, I'm running. You know, I would actually consider myself decently active. But yeah. I do mainly free weights and calisthenics, stuff like that. Do they have testosterone in Canada? Do you mean like us as humans or Hims products in Canada? They don't have it, no. Stop running, start sprinting. I wanted to do that for my legs, but I also don't want to look like a loser, and I don't want to go out of my house and just start being the weirdo that's just full sprinting down the sidewalk. So I jog. You know? I meant as humans. Okay, well, thanks. If you weren't a mod, I'd ban you. Come on, I can't even speak. we import it. Yeah, we're big importers of testosterone. Okay, let's see what else. So like I said, Kalshi and CNBC could be a thing. They just had Vlad Tenev on today. Isn't that crazy? Maybe they just knew. Second youngest billionaire of all time is the Kalshi co-founder, that female something Lara, I forget. I don't remember her name. But the only younger billionaire was Mark Zuckerberg at 23. She was 29, I think, which is how old I'm going to be next year. So guys, we have to found something soon. You lifting with the Target chick weights? Okay, come on. No, I have those Bowflex adjustable dumbbells. I like those for little home gym stuff, but I do go to LA Fitness and try to get a workout there. We have to find a cure. Are you guys talking about my testosterone still? Like, you guys are worried about me? Luana Lopez Laura. Yeah. The Tanner Institute for Kids Who Don't Speak Good but want to speak good and do other things good too. All right. I love how I've went to the doctor, I've got my blood tested, but there's a bunch of you guys that are in chat going, "Nah, you look fine." You really fly out to LA just to lift? Ha ha ha. LA Fitness is the name of the I'm pretty sure you guys have it. Like, it's one of the larger places for sure. I don't think we have a Lifetime Fitness. I don't think that's a thing here. We have Lifetime machines, I think. I've seen those. No squats, no testosterone? Okay, well, then that explains it, because I can't. So I need a safety bar, which is the out front thing, because I can't put my shoulders behind my head, because I've had bad shoulder injuries. Sports, you know. No, I'm just kidding. I got in a bad incident whenever I was a kid. But so I can't hold a squat bar behind my neck. Like, can't put it on my traps. So I do leg press, like lay down leg press, stuff like that. I can do all those types of things. The, you know, like lunges and any type of leg exercise I try to do other than squats. Or I need a squat or like an easy bar, which is like the pads that go over with the thing in front. But yeah, I do goblet squats sometimes if or I tried to do some kettlebell workouts as well. Distance running is where it's at. Honestly, I've never done a marathon, but it's been a lifetime goal. And I do really enjoy running. Leg press machine. Yeah, how else would you do a leg press? Yeah, I'm just talking about like the plate loaded, you're leaning back, 45-degree things. Now you guys are just naming your favorite exercises. I actually don't do many skull crushers, to be honest. I should. I just don't find they feel good. But a ton of dips. I do a ton of dips and like the rope stuff, like that a lot. Yes, skull crushers instead of squats. That's funny. Okay, let's get back to it. We're getting a little distracted here. We've got some news to go over, but I love that a lot of you guys are into fitness, and it's. I honestly think investing and health go hand in hand. Like they completely are. What's the term that I always say this, and yet I always forget it. Like pushing off satisfaction. What's that called? Delayed gratification. There we go. I think that if you have that mindset for investing, then that's very easy to sort of couple with working out. I'm approaching 600 pounds. Well, I mean, either you're a strongman expert or I don't know. Try to do some walks and stuff. I don't know if that comes off as rude. I don't know, but I don't think if you put it in chat that you're that shy about it. But yeah, I actually think, and this is no joke at all, I think one of the best weight loss strategies is walking, and I'm not kidding at all. I've seen some unbelievable transformation stories of people who just try to get as many steps in as possible per day. I am not a health expert, but that strategy I've seen work for a lot of people. Just walk way too much. There is no 600-pound strongman. I was just making a little joke. Maybe it was of bad taste, but okay. What stock market? Yeah. Let's get back. I apologize. I should do a live stream though, like on Saturdays or something, because I could use, you know, some more talk about it. Obviously, there's a lot of people in chat who are much more educated in this space than I am, and I could use you know, some additional help for sure. Mizuho put an outperformance price target on Meta at $815 today. They said, we see a significant rally ahead for Meta shares, and they put their bull case at 1,245 over the next 12 months. That's essentially a doubling from here. You know? Carnivore diet. I'm not on a carnivore diet, but like it was late last night and I was just like kind of hungry. I mean, like past 10 p.m. And I had this strip loin steak, like, I mean, a massive steak. And just made that last night in the middle of the night. No, sorry, it wasn't even 10. It was like way later than that because that was after my conversation with Steve. So it was probably like 11 something. And just made myself a big steak. Butter basted it and everything. And then ate that at night while watching the Outdoor Boys. If you guys know who that is. The greatest YouTube channel on YouTube. Just eating that alone in my office. Yeah, you know, got to enjoy those carnivore moments. Are you going to do any earnings plays today? No, I don't play earnings too much. And if I do, it's just, you know, an odd feeling from time to time that I get where like I don't know much about the names that are actually being presented today. I would love a position in a cybersecurity name. I don't know which one to do, so I might just end up getting a cybersecurity ETF. But really, where I am right now in my investing journey is that I need to actually trim back on a lot of names. I need to get rid of some names and go back down to try to get like 14 names in the portfolio. Also, I saw a video for Shark Ninja today of a new like outdoor fireplace thing that they just ended up putting out. Have you guys seen this? Smokeless Ninja fire pits. I don't know if they're going to be a success yet, considering one is already on sale. I'm taking a look at, but maybe that's a thing. We'll see. Not everything's going to be a hit for them, but maybe this is one of them. You saw it at Costco? Oh, that's cool. Smokeless is a scam. They don't work, meaning that they still create smoke. Is that what you're suggesting? Yeah, it does come with the force field. I'm surprised that the black one is on sale because I would not get the white one. I mean, honestly, I don't really like the look of it all that much. But I don't know. If I go to someone's house and they have it and it's just an amazing experience, I'll buy it. If you guys don't know, I've purchased almost every single one of their products. So, yeah. I've got the account and everything. You know, whenever you have an account for a like a business like that and you have an account on their website, things have gotten crazy. Mike's Hard Lemonade is joining TGL presented by SoFi as an official partner for season 2. Season 2 for TGL presented by SoFi starts December 28th. That is like their indoor golf simulator TV show, what do you call it? Competition? It was designed by Tiger Woods, and SoFi had made quite a significant marketing investment into that name. And whenever it starts to pick up, you should see more activity on SoFi. That's usually what we see, is that the pickup for website traffic and everything does accelerate. Over the next week, by the way, we should end up seeing website traffic for SoFi, which skyrocketed in October, and hopefully that continues into November. On, I think it's December 10th, we also see Robinhood's November trading volume. I had asked them in my last earnings call if they could put the amount of prediction market sales or like contracts on their like monthly metrics. We'll see if they end up doing that. So far, they've just been sending out sort of like a standalone email. By the way, this also just came across. Amit just got access to banking from Robinhood. We'll see. Higher end customers from golf would be good. Yeah, no, exactly. If SoFi continues to target sort of that golf, tennis, F1, like there are sports that lean towards a certain affluent audience. That could be quite interesting. F1 is not one that I think SoFi is ready for just yet, just because it has such a global audience that it would almost be like, you know, you're paying for the advertisement of reaching every single customer, but the only advertising that actually gets back to a return is the US customer. So you're not going to see that just yet, but maybe some tennis stuff in the United States, that might be interesting. We do need to go towards more affluent audience. And pickleball, I just don't even know if there's an audience yet. Like, are people watching pickleball? I'm not an ESPN guy or anything, but is there a... My understanding is, depending on the size of the sport, you kind of get on ESPN 1 to about 4 or whatever, and the more like darts is all the way at the end and basketball is all the way at the beginning. Is pickleball at all... Is anyone watching that? SoFi should sponsor YouTube. Well, they definitely do have a lot of advertising, and I've heard from people say that they've seen SoFi advertisements before they've gone. Like even things like, I think Caleb Hammer was sponsored by SoFi. Anthony Pompliano has been sponsored by SoFi. Other people like Eric, like very, very popular YouTubers have been sponsored by SoFi. But SoFi, I don't think, has done things like a Mr. Beast yet or anything like that. I think, honestly, that's more for Chime, because the average customer would not be SoFi's targeted audience. Interesting. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I just uploaded a... wait. Actually, before I show you that, let's just go to my account really quick. I want to show you my most recent post. SoFi has been pushing out a ton of new products. L1 options, crypto trading, multi-accounts. So now you're allowed to, this just happened the other day. You're now allowed to open up an individual account and a joint account under one name. That wasn't allowed before. They're also not allowed to have 2 separate credit cards with SoFi. That also should change very soon. SoFi Pay with global remittances and SoFi USD. SoFi USD is coming soon. Okay. I actually did an updated one so you could sort of see everything. I wasn't trying to add the coming soon stuff, but people said that I should. So Galileo crypto services, institutional trading, internal instant transfers, new loan types like co-borrower personal loans. That wasn't allowed before. Smart Start student loans, interest first personal loans, crypto-backed loans are coming soon. Galileo's been getting a ton of co-branded card programs. Smart Card is coming soon. AI Coach is coming soon. All of these things are quite exciting. However, what you just saw there, if I can go back, is that the new competitive margin rates are here. Competitive margin rates. We're introducing rates from 5% to 9.75% based on your loan size. Get started today. We knew it was coming, but now it's here. Let's see what it takes to get 5%. It's interesting. 5%, over $10 million margin balance with SoFi. How fun is that? How freaking cool. So we'll see. We are planning to take rail for a trip. Is passenger rail networks decent in Canada? Yeah, I would say so. Via rail. Yeah. Okay. Wow, 5% for 10 million. Yum. Okay. SoFi has officially launched crypto to all users. That's good to hear as well. No, honestly, they're moving extremely fast right now. Like they're just launching like what feels like a product a day. And I think that's a lot of being integrated onto Technisys now. They're no longer on a very much slower back end. So for them to adjust margin rates, at least to my understanding now, is as much as going on to the computer and just typing in, okay, 575, if it's at this margin rate, done. Like it's much easier to change now. Daily and monthly transfer amounts were also increased. Yep, that's very true. Okay. I think they're fully integrated now. Yep, I do. Small business banking should be the next thing after all of these announcements, but that might still be sort of a minute. Also, out of all the names, I'm curious to see what you guys have said. So I've been talking about a few of these new companies that I've been investing in. Which ones are your guys' favorite? And I can even poll this in the chat. I think I know what the answer is going to be. But, I've been talking about investing lately in Amazon, in Meta, in Chime, in Nebius, Rocket Lab. I can't say I've done that one quite yet, but I don't actually think I have enough polls in order to make this. Let's just do the top four then. We'll leave out the Reddits and stuff. However, Reddit is a very interesting one. Okay. What's your favorite stock to buy now? From my list. Okay. Meta. What was it? Amazon. Chime. Google's not there. I'm not buying Google right now. And Nebius. I have a feeling I know what you guys are going to say, but let's still pull this. I still want to see. Because I know my two favorites right now. Ooh, this is actually, you know what? Amazon's leading the way. I did not think you guys were going to love Amazon so much. That's fantastic. Amazon's like 50%, Meta 32%, Chime 5%, Nebius 16%. List is rigged. Yeah, it's my list. Yeah, it's it's my list. Out of the names that I've been saying that I've purchased, what are your favorites of my list? Oh, yeah, I should have added BM&R as well. Okay, clearly you guys hate Chime. So 4%, which is so crazy because it's like the one that I've probably it is the least known, and there's not, I don't think, a single other person that's talking about Chime other than me. So that makes sense, I guess. But it's also like one that's done probably the best for me. Okay. What's your favorite stock to buy here from my list? Gosh, I should just look down at the keyboard. I really suck at typing. Meta, Amazon, Nebius, BM&R. Let's do that one because that one might be a little bit more competitive. SoFi is better than Chime, but it might not be better than Chime at these prices. Investing is not just about buying the best company. It's about buying the best company for the best risk reward. Chime is app for poor people. I mean, that's strongly worded, but doesn't mean that you can't make a lot of money offering ways to help, 200 million Americans. Okay, let's specify then. No, actually, I'm not going to specify. You guys just tell me what you can only pick one, right? So you guys think about it how you would. Amazon 38%, BM&R 26%, Meta 24%, Nebius 13%. Wow. Honestly, I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked. I thought Nebius, I thought you guys honestly thought I thought Amazon was going to be one of the lowest, and you guys were going to love Nebius because that's popular online. And then probably something like BM&R, then Meta, then Amazon. But you guys are honestly, I'm pretty proud of that list. That's pretty well risk adjusted. Amazon being the top one, and then BM&R and Meta sort of split equally, and then Nebius at the bottom. Yeah, responsible chat. Data centers aren't sexy. Companies growing. Okay, I almost went tantrum Tanner there for a second. There's essentially 75% of the companies that I listed out there are building data centers. And then the other one is blockchain. So it's actually pretty well suited to the things that I'm liking right now. I mean, clearly, I put up 4 names that I'm actively purchasing and going, you know what? These are names that I would buy. Idiot. But Amazon's not the biggest. Like if you were to think of my DCAs, my biggest ones right now are Meta and Nebius, and then probably BM&R, and then Amazon last in terms of dollar weighted as of like the last 30 days. You forgot Hood in your poll? I'm not buying Hood. These are like last 30-day purchases. This does not sum up where my money is. My money is in Nvidia, Shopify, SoFi. That's like 70% of my portfolio. Once the customer strengthens, Amazon will be 400. Amcor, I'm not buying Amcor right now. I do like TSMC, but I don't have it in my portfolio. I have thought about selling off some NVIDIA to buy TSMC, just reduce some of that risk. I've thought about that, like kind of cutting my NVIDIA probably a good chunk, like 20%, and then maybe splitting that money a little bit from between Broadcom and TSMC. Just like stay sector diversified and not worry about the individual names as much. But would you consider switching from Wealthsimple to Questrade with their recent product launches? Questrade Pro looks really, really cool. But I don't even think it's out yet. I think it's coming early 2026. So I could definitely be persuaded. But the products that I want are not yet out yet. Okay. Tanner, do you have your portfolio in a TFSA? I have a percentage of my portfolio in my TFSA, but my TFSA is max, so it forces me into non-reg. And I'm not a first home buyer, so I don't have a first home buyer account. And I don't have an RRSP. I don't really believe in them. I think that they're good. Sorry, this is a little Canadian talk. I'll literally switch off this topic in legitimately 60 seconds. But an RRSP is really good for people who want a traditional retirement and people who get contribution from their work. If their work is willing to match their contributions to a certain extent, that is legitimately free money. I think RRSPs are really smart there. But I don't know if there's going to be a year where I make less than the year prior, just the way that investing kind of goes. I just always think, I hope that my portfolio continues to grow. So RRSPs for me just are not really my favorite because I don't ever plan to have a traditional retirement. I think I'm just going to make, my assumption is I'm going to be a lot more rich when I'm 70 than I am today. And also the tax that I would be saving today, like the question that I used to ask to clients is, do you think that the tax rate is going to go up or down from here into the future? And usually the assumption is up. And if it's up, then I'm deferring tax today to pay more tomorrow. Big F that. So not a big fan of RRSPs, but TFSAs are a perfect product. Sorry, all done there. Off the Canadian talk, back to markets. But hopefully that satiated the 6% of my audience that is Canadian. Yeah, incredible movers. Almost this entire page on my watch list is all double-digit movements from Figure up to UiPath up 24%. Okay. L Canada. Yeah. No, I was, I'm not your financial advisor, but I was a financial advisor for 5.5 years. So it was like an often conversation that I would have. And depending on the clients that you're dealing with, a lot of them, if they're high net worth, do not believe that they're going to have a traditional retirement, or a lot of them might have rental properties or stuff like this where they're collecting continuous rental income or something. There's no traditional retirement for them. They end up paying more tax on their RRSPs than they were saving. So not a fan. Watched a guy buy 1 million shares yesterday of UiPath. And where were you? Who is Tanner? I'm Tanner. Okay. How's AMD's future valuation here versus NVIDIA's? I haven't checked it recently. My assumption would be that they are probably slightly cheaper. But we can have a look. I think it's always good to double check. On a forward PE basis, AMD, no, I mean, not quite, to be honest. This is on a forward basis for NVIDIA and AMD. So I just have forward PE. So we can look at trailing PE. Trailing PE on AMD is 107. NVIDIA's is 45.5, which is fine if AMD can put up faster growth rates, right? And growth rates on the bottom line. So then we look at forward PE, and this is just price to earnings ratio. So this is not like one single metric does not tell you the price of a business. If it was that easy, like you would just find the companies with the lowest PEs and buy those names. There's so much to consider for investing. So I'm not saying that one is better than another here, but AMD's forward PE based on market consensus right now is 38.9 times, and NVIDIA's right now is 26.3 times. I do have a huge belief in NVIDIA. Okay. And if we just look at the last quarter, that's sort of what it looks like. The AMD sell-off is crazy to me. After a reacceleration, all the guidance changes and just continued to fall. Now, some of the falling on NVIDIA's forward PE is because consensus has risen. So it's not just the price, it's also the consensus that raises that brings down forward PE. But still, you have to take both into consideration. Okay. Now let's take a look at AMD because I haven't seen their share price in a bit. 215.75. And NVIDIA 182.80. There was a moment whenever, and this is just on a per share basis, I'm not talking market cap, where they were kind of trading in line on share price, like in the 140s, 150s ranges. So AMD has definitely pulled out ahead in terms of which one has been the better investment over in the short term. But we'll have to see if that continues. What's your story, Tanner? Have you worked in 9 to 5? Not really 9 to 5. Like, I was essentially self-employed as a financial advisor, financial securities advisor, and had my own book of business. So I did that for 5.5 years. I had a sponsor financial institution. So there was a financial institution here in Canada who essentially has to sponsor your license. So I had my license under them. So worked with them with like all my compliance and everything like that. That all had to go with them. And then we would have sort of a commission split based on the products that I sold or whatever, like assets under management and the take that I would have for that and other products that I would sell would be split with them. But then in October of last year of 2024, artificial intelligence was picking up a ton, and so was my love for the YouTube channel. So I was like, I need to get out before the multiples on my book collapse. And then I took that money and invested it in the markets. But yeah. What was my AUM? I think at the time of sale was about 12.5 million. It wasn't a lot. Now, honestly, that is not a lot. But honestly, I did a lot more insurance than I did on the fund side because there was so much money to be made in insurance. People have no idea. Like, so much money. Daily flush on ETH. Let's see. It looks like there might be a daily flush on everything there. Even Nvidia was selling off there while we were looking at it. 182. We'll watch that. I had the opposite route. I tried to be a YouTuber, failed, and went into finance. Yeah. Spy's falling off a cliff. Okay, what's going on here? Nubank is investing in $2.5 billion in Mexico in 2026. Interesting. That's a pretty large investment, actually. Whenever I think about how much they've invested previously, I think their total investments previously was roughly about 2.5 billion or 2.4 billion in Mexico. So they essentially doubled it. Trump tweets, I'm not seeing anything. I can hunt it out, but usually I don't even need to. Let me check Truth Social. Check the Qs as well. Yep, nice little sell-off here. Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like we can zoom out a little bit, but Truth Social. I'm not seeing anything just yet. BM&R is holding up well. Okay. Let me know if you guys see anything. No, that was a little while ago. BlackRock CEO just said Bitcoin has a large use case. BlackRock CEO is talking, Larry Fink. No, this is Trump delivered a speech about peace. That's nothing. That was 3 minutes ago. Okay. Lamborghini dealerships in the United States now accept Ethereum payments. It's not crashing the market, but I still like it. Okay. Yeah, where's Cactus Jack when you need him? That's so funny. Anyone here with a Bloomberg terminal? Okay, that's a top signal. Lamborghini's accepting Ethereum. I mean, honestly, though, it seems a little late. Like, you could have gotten a lot of customers by doing that a long time ago. Like, what? You're forcing your customers to go sell it to cash to then give it to you? Why don't you just sell it in cash? Like, it's the same thing. No, I'm honestly not seeing much. A lot of people are talking about Meta still. I'm going to go and check some other indices fall to session lows as Sam Altman rumored to elevate OpenAI's code red to code dark red. I think that's a joke. I just read that out loud, but I actually think that was for humor purposes. But maybe it could be a Sam Altman related internal comment because that can crash markets these days. I took that so seriously, I didn't even read the whole thing in my head first. Okay. Salesforce posts impressive results, but lands. No. Let's see what else. Lower than expected job cuts and metaverse news. We've already known that, though. Nothing really new there. The initial jobless claims retreated to below 200,000, but were better than expected. We've already known all this. We're starting to see a recovery. Maybe it was I don't know. People are buying the dip, though. Time to buy the dip. Algos, what's amidst? Honestly, this could very well be algos. I think people oversay the algo thing, not just him. A lot of people, but like it could be less algos. It could be, I don't know, a very large investor. Like, some of these super large investors could be dumping or moving their positions, something like this, and then that ends up triggering some algos that end up, making the sell-off just slightly worse. Algos being algos. Let me check Trump's Discord. By the way, guys, we have the best gosh darn Discord there is around. And it's not one that's a monthly payment. There's no fees. It's free to everyone. However, big disclaimer, there are scammers on Discord. And there are some that are not on my Discord channel that try to act as if they are me. They are not me. I don't have any other companies associated with my name, okay? It's just me and future investing. I don't want you a part of some private investing group, nothing like that. So if they're not on my server, I can't ban them. Discord kind of sucks for that. But yeah. The Discord's right below. That's the QR code right there, or it's in the description. It's just for the community to continue to talk after the live streams end. There's no, it's just so then people can still talk about SoFi, Nvidia, Shopify, Google. I got to create a Meta channel, actually. A Meta channel would be great. That would be a very good one. Let's check some individual company news. Let's see if anyone has posted anything today that hasn't been published online already. Nothing from D-Local. Nothing except for the, what do you call it? The new margin rates at SoFi. That ended up changing. Nothing quite there. Nothing on Toast. Marqueta's quiet. Block is quiet today. Affirm, it did a thing about Paxson working with Affirm now. That's news, I guess. I don't really care about Affirm. Shift4, Shopify, nothing there. Black Friday, Cyber Monday for Adyen. They took more market share as usual. However, I think the stock is down, is it not? It's one of the names that's down today, down to 2.89%. Where's PayPal? PayPal flat on the day, and Shopify up. I knew I could trust you, Shopify. Let's go. That's what I should do. I should create like a list and see how you guys rank my positions. Which position in my portfolio do you guys dislike? I know probably the most controversial one is BMNR, so that's probably going to be the one that gets the most votes. But you either super love it or you super hate it. So I honestly need like maybe I'll do that as like a form one day. Get a bunch of you guys to tell me which is your favorite position in my portfolio and which one's your least favorite. Or maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe that's bad for my psyche. Maybe that would make me, get into bad habits of thinking I should do something with the position that you guys like the least. Which I'm not trying to position my portfolio for consensus. I'm trying to configure it for my beliefs. And now some people sway my consensus because they bring new information to the table that I didn't think of previously, and that is such an advantage for doing YouTube here. Like, that part is not talked about enough. You guys have brought so much to my table; it's unbelievable. Okay. Bill Pulte's in the news. Okay, wait, let's listen to this real quick.
News out of Washington. Eamon Javers has that for us at the White House. Hi, Eamon.
Scott, that's right. The General Accountability Office here in Washington says that it is going to conduct an investigation of Bill Pulte over at the FHFA over the question of whether he appropriately accessed private data as he was doing his own investigations at FHFA in order to lob these allegations of mortgage fraud against a number of prominent officials here in Washington, including Lisa Cook over at the Fed. Now, remember that this investigation was requested by Democrats, including Elizabeth Warren up on Capitol Hill back in November. Now the organization says they will conduct this investigation. Here's their statement, which we got just a couple of moments ago. They say, I can confirm that the GAO has accepted this request following our standard process. The first thing the GAO does as any work begins is to determine the full scope of what we will cover and the methodology to be used. This can take a few months. And until that is done, we cannot provide any estimates on a completion date. So what this is and what this is not, Scott, this is an adverse development for Bill Pulte and the FHFA. It's not going to be welcome news there. It's not going to be welcome news here at the White House. What it is not is anything that's going to immediately change the state of play here. Bill Pulte is not going to be affected by any ruling that comes out of this for some time to come. And remember, GAO itself is the sort of nonpartisan fact-finding arm of Congress. They issue a lot of audits and reports. Safe to say that people here in Washington don't sort of live in fear of an adverse GAO report as they would do if, say, the Department of Justice was investigating. So very different things, Scott.
And we're still waiting on the Supreme Court to ultimately decide the Cook matter, correct?
That's right. We're expecting that on January 21st. We expect oral arguments at the Supreme Court, and we'll see where we go from there. At some point, the court is going to have to decide where all this goes.
Someone in chat, and I don't know if you're joking or not, maybe you don't think there's an answer to this, but I know there's an answer to this. How does one scan a QR code when you're using your phone to watch a stream? And in fact, I'm pretty sure the answer is that you actually screenshot it and then you go to like your gallery and then you click on the QR code in the gallery. I'm pretty sure that works on iPhone. I think it works in Android as well. So you can actually scan a QR code in your or on your phone. But yeah, Discord is absolutely free. Absolutely, absolutely free. Netflix is the leading bidder for Warner Brothers Discovery. We already knew that. Hims and Hers launching in Canada. That was 12 minutes ago. I think they had Andrew Dunham on the CNBC today. Google partnering with Replit. That could be quite interesting. Ooh. Anthropic CEO on AI spending and the AI bubble risk. I would love to hear about this. Okay. Let's have a listen.
Dominating the conversation right now. Here's Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei on questions about a possible bubble.
So this is really complicated, and I want to separate out the technological side of it from the economic side of it. On the technological side of it, I feel really solid. I think I'm one of the most bullish people around, and I think it pencils out. On the economic side, you know, I have my concerns where even if the technology is you know, really powerful and fulfills all its promises, I think there may be players in the ecosystem who, if they just make a timing error, if they just get it off by a little bit, bad things could happen.
And I asked him about the vast amounts of money that his company and others, including OpenAI, are spending.
I think there's a real dilemma deriving from uncertainty in how quickly the economic value is going to grow and the lag times on building the data centers that drives it. So I think there's genuine uncertainty, there's genuine dilemma, which we as a company try to manage as responsibly as we can. And then I think there are some players who, you know, who are YOLOing, who pull the risk dial too far, and I'm very concerned.
Who is YOLOing?
All right, I got some breaking news.
Who is YOLOing? I want to know who's YOLOing.
One of the biggest names in AI coding or vibe coding, Deirdre Bosa, has more in tech check. They're like OpenAI these days, Deirdre. I turn around and they're making another splashy move. The stock's up.
Yep, and Replit, speaking of vibe coding, it is the $3 billion darling in the space. It lets non-software engineers like hobbyists or marketing employees or your elementary grade kid simply tell AI what it wants, and the AI builds the final app or product for you. Now, it differs from some of the other players in the space, like Cursor, in that its funnel is very broad, and that is what this expanded partnership is about. I talked exclusively to Google Cloud President Matt Renner and Replit CEO Amjad Masad.
With Replit now, anyone in the organization, we see people from HR, sales, marketing, everyone's spinning up their own internal tools. And we actually integrate with BigQuery, we integrate with Databricks, with Snowflake. So people are building on top of their existing data platforms. And so that's automations, agents, data applications. And so everyone in the organization is becoming a programmer.
When I look at Replit, that sets it apart is the history we've had together and frankly, the dedication to Google Cloud relative to as their primary cloud. So we have a very consistent strategy, which is we're going to provide products, right? And to your earlier example of AWS, yes, they provide optionality, but they're not providing the first party products, right? So we're going to provide both at all levels.
So both of them, they see vibe coding or AI first coding moving to the enterprise. The reason this deal makes sense right now. By the way, Kelly, I did ask Renner why this deal didn't come with an investment, like a stake in Replit, like many of the deals in AI do right now. Masad said they're not raising capital. They don't need it right now.
I mean, all right. Very, very cool. Okay. What do we think about this market recovery? Honestly, I know people say algos very often. This is straight up algos. Like, this has to be. I'm not seeing a single news source. Look at this. Dump into pump. Enjoy the dip buys when you get them. That is just too fun. Sorry, not SPY. ETH and BTC. Anyone buying Snowflake here? That is just one unreal sell-off. Big Bear AI. I know nothing about Big Bear AI, but there's. I look to other investors whenever I'm seeing if there's something there. I've talked to a couple friends. They say there's nothing there, so I'm not looking any deeper. If you guys suggest maybe I'm wrong and I do need to look deeper, let me know. Let your word be heard, or forever hold your peace. Okay. I bought snow calls. Okay. I've never seen such a dump across everything. I mean, it's not that crazy. It does happen. Margins on Snowflake are not good according to Link. It's a swing trade. I have all the four stocks on the thing. What's winning right now? How many votes did we get on the list? I assume that the thing that was holding up previously, Amazon 33%, BMNR 27%, Meta 26%. You talk about polls, that is extremely close across the board, except for Nebius at 13%. And if I could put a fifth thing on this poll, I would add sorry, I was getting a phone call. Chime, but I guarantee that would be like 2% for you guys. On the rigged list? Yes, on the rigged list. It's not a suggestion box of what you guys think I should buy next. It's, these are my favorites. Do you guys agree? And I guess it doesn't tell me if you guys do agree, but out of the four, you guys agree the most with Amazon. Okay. I'll end it there. Not the stream, the poll. Okay. Aside from Snowflake, I don't know how this happens. As the stream goes on, I sink more and more into my seat. It's just like, you know, as the stream goes on. SoFi to the list. I'm not buying SoFi. Guys, I have so much SoFi. I have big faith in SoFi, but then you have to convince me that I should be more, or that the risk reward on SoFi is better than the risk reward on Meta or Nebius or something like that. And I think that's going to be hard to beat, especially considering the fact that, one, I have so much SoFi already. And if I'm wrong, if I've done my due diligence wrong, if I've misunderstood the market, then that could hurt a lot. And then two, like, there's cyclicality. There's almost no cyclicality to Meta. Like, it's such a foolproof, well-rounded business. Like, it really is. You don't like making more money? I have to give up something to buy something. Okay, I see what you guys are doing. USA. Honestly, I don't even get trolled by the market. The market could sell off, flash, crash, whatever. Like, you just watch me go through it. I don't even care. Then one of you guys start being like, oh, so you don't like making money. And I just flip my desk. Makes me so upset, man. Is Meta economy proof? I'm not falling for it. You and I both know the answer is no. Okay. It's about risk. Let's go back. I'm learning. I'm getting better here. Okay. USA. Now, even though there was a flash, even calling it a flash crash is funny because everything up, like, it lasted 2 seconds and it didn't even fall 0.5%. But there's a lot of names up 10% now, at least 10%, filling up this entire list. A lot of names, by the way, that I would never touch. Not all of them. I'm saying there could definitely be some quality names in here. But these are the highest, very, very high risk names in the stock market. And they're at the top of my portfolio. CoreWeave also about to be up 10%. 87.15. Congratulations. Rocket Lab up 9.8%. Congratulations to everyone. Navitas up 9.4%. SoundHound is up. Look at this. They took the dip and then ran with it. I was going to call it a Nike swoosh. It's too hard of a V-shaped recovery. There's no swoosh there. That's a check. That's just beautiful. Yeah, animal spirits, right? Animal spirits is a good way to put it. Look at this. Enovix, Kratos, Joby, Cypher, one-stop systems applied, like, one after another. This is meme territory. For real, where is the meme ETF? Up 8.3%. The meme ETF is up 8.3%. That's incredible. Wow. That's so cool. Okay. Soundhound is the future. I'm not anti-Soundhound. You know, I'm not personally investing in them, and I did listen to their most recent earnings call, and it didn't give me the feelings of hope, but I'm not anti it. I wish the best for you. The meme ETF expense ratio is 0.69%. Yeah, it's because there's no, they had to set it so high because, like, legitimately, look, there's $15 million of assets under management. That's like close to how much money I managed, you know, like I didn't run an ETF. There's no money here. And for real, my MER was a lot higher than 0.69%. But that's very funny. Tanner, do DD on path. You're missing a multi-bagger. All right. Well, if you say it like that, then I have to. Is it true you're big on GameStop? Not even remotely. Not even remotely true. I've never seen such lies. I'm not saying my if you guys just got in, we were talking about me being a financial advisor earlier. I'm talking about the money that I've managed as a financial advisor, not as my own portfolio. Okay, let's see. Tanner hates brick and mortar. I don't hate it. I just don't think, like, there's no TAM advantage there. I feel like it's a slowly dying industry. Why would I invest in there? For your own portfolio, how much risk are you willing to take? I don't think there's a limit, honestly, to my risk. Well, in equities, I don't think that there's a risk tolerance that I'm anti, I guess. But I don't like. It's hard to put it into words. I'm willing to take bets on companies that I believe in, but I have to believe in them. And if things aren't proven, then it's very hard for me to believe in them. I don't just believe in good ideas, although good ideas can go very far. I have to believe in the founder. I have to believe in their progress. I have to believe in, like, there's so much there. What's up with the title? SoFi's 2026 guidance. Hey, yeah. So we talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but Chris Lapointe came out and reiterated that they are going to be on the lower end of their 2026 guidance, closer to 55 cents rather than 80. And that stirred up a lot of conversation on X. But to me, it's actually a strength. Anthony Noto back in May, maybe I'll make a quick video about it today, just release it after this live. But Anthony Noto essentially said that if they do get up to 80 cents, which is completely feasible, they don't think that they can't hit it. It's just a matter of what do we have to sacrifice to get there. And the sacrifice would be that they would slow down their investment and save more. And that would lead to 80 cents of EPS. Okay. And 55 cents would be, hey, we're actually going to focus on margins less and we're going to invest more. And so I think the confusion on and why people are hating the fact that they're going to show up maybe on the lower end of the EPS is because they want to potentially try to hold up 35, 40, 45% growth. And I'd much rather that and get more users than focus on EPS today. Does HIMS have you interested with the low T, Tanner? I can't even believe this. Okay. Tanner, you just messaged me on Discord, right? Absolutely not. No, I didn't take time out of my live stream to message you. That's a scammer. Don't reply to him. Save your money. Also, guys, for real though, that is so serious because I've heard of people like I've heard horror stories. Luckily, no one's come to me with any of these types of stories, but friends of mine who have followers that have lost like $750,000 sending money to what is a private group, a private fund. Nope. Nope. Don't do that. Don't send me any money. Okay? Tanner's so mean. That guy just said I have low testosterone. But yeah, I see what you mean. I've got a little bit of a temper thing. All right? We're working through it. We're having fun. Under this mean face, I'm actually pretty okay. You just asked me for $49.99 for a personal course. Well, to be honest, my course is a lot more than that. But pay with PayPal. And if it's a scam, get a refund. Like, if you're not paying with PayPal, if I ask you for money in USDT, it's not me, okay? If I'm asking you for money in gift cards, it's not me. And also, if you don't want the course, don't buy it. We're going to do a lot of free content here. Passive aggressive. There's nothing passive about it. This is active aggression. Do you accept ETH? No. Me right after saying about the Lambo thing, but no, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on IREN? I don't have too many thoughts on IREN. I need to look into it more. I do just have a weird feeling about some of these data center plays that have sort of rotated their business into what's working. And IREN might be amazing. But for me, I just prefer like CoreWeave and Nebius because like those businesses have been doing that since the jump. You know, maybe you could say Nebius hasn't been, but yeah, I don't know. I still just prefer those names, but nothing against IREN. And also I need to do a lot more due diligence. I'm not educated enough to even give you an opinion on it. Don't tell me what to do. I can send money to anyone I want. Rusty, thank you. Very generous of you, brother. Not just the 5, but I've noticed a constant amount of generosity that is not needed. I do appreciate it, but yeah, you've been very, very kind to me on this channel. You think PayPal gets back to 80? Guys, I got to be honest. I'm probably selling PayPal like very, very shortly. I think it's so cheap. It's unbelievably cheap. But I'm like, why am I even doing this to myself where I'm investing in businesses that are just like they're fighting uphill battles? You know? But honestly, there's something about me where I can't deny a deal. Like PayPal is so cheap. It's disgustingly cheap. And if I do sell it, that's probably going to be the last day where they are a solely owned business. And then the next day they're going to be acquired. That's just how it works, right? You sell it, they get acquired. You don't believe in agentic? No, I believe in agentic. Like agentic commerce is coming. And PayPal might have a big part in that. But even then, I don't think it's going to be a bigger industry than what they're currently in. And there will be other payment names that I am in payments. I like dLocal and What are some other ones? Well, I'm not really okay. Well, maybe I don't have too many payment names right now. I've kind of dropped Adyen. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'll benefit from other names on agentic commerce. I just can't talk myself into buying PayPal over Nvidia, Meta, SoFi, and Hood. No, 100%. And I don't even have a big PayPal, like position at all. But I still want to just sell it and put it into Meta. Yeah, Shift 4. There we go. Not really in the agentic commerce space. Maybe they do enter that, but yeah. But also, that might be a name that I just rotate my PayPal earnings into. I've got higher conviction in Shift 4 and think that they're honestly probably cheaper here, like way cheaper than PayPal. And that's hard to beat. Like their long-term guidance is still like 30%. CAGRs, like each year should average out around 30+%. That's high growth. I got out of Shift 4D local and PayPal. It's dead. I think it's dead right now. The market does not like payments, but I honestly think that'll be a big mistake. Not your portfolio. I'm not saying that you made a bad decision. I'm saying that people thinking that those companies can't make money, I think will be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's how I've made all my money previously, is making these contrarian bets, and I'm gonna have to make another one. Z-Man, you got to stop spamming snow, dude. Honestly, relax. I don't know what you're trying to say to me, but can someone time this guy out? Holy. Do I have any mods in chat? Feels like payments is a race to the bottom as it becomes more and more of a commodity. But I don't think it is like Shopify. I don't know if you guys just heard that whistle, but that rang through my room. Shopify and Shift4 have kind of proven that payments is not a commodity. In fact, for and Stripe and some of these names as well, and Adyen, they're actually kind of improving their take rates because there's a big subscription side to it as well, and there's a lot of value added services. So, yeah. Shopify is more than payments, though. No, I get it, but it still is a really great part of their business. Thoughts on MasterCard? I would probably buy Visa here out of the two, but yeah. Okay. Have you heard about Plug? I do know of Plug, but I'm not following them. I just prefer Visa because of the valuation. I think there was a big play in like SMBs and like some of these smaller fintechs partnering with MasterCard, and that was skyrocketing and their growth was really good. But now I'm honestly starting to see Visa get into a lot of that. And so I don't know which one's going to do better going forward. Midwest Cannabis just out here talking about organic peanut butter. Now I've purchased salted or like organic peanut butter. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people in chat that think it's very good. It tastes awful. And then you buy the unsalted ones. Yuck. But the truth is, I barely even eat peanut butter at all anyway. Okay. Amex, Visa, MasterCard in that order. Yeah. Amex definitely doing very well with the younger generation. I know that for sure. I'm full-time on YouTube. Solo Carry. Where do you get a name like Solo Carry? For me, that's like a league term. Is that where you also got it from? What's with the quantum stocks today? I mean, they're doing very well, but do they even need news to go up? You know? Okay. Let's see here. Starting today, Hims and Hers just said, we're serving Canada for the first time, and to support these customers, we're welcoming new local leadership focused on delivering across, personalized, affordable care that Canadians need. Okay, wow. I didn't know they were getting into Canada that quickly. Japan will classify Ethereum as a financial product by mid-2026. That's pretty interesting. Amazon plans to cut ties with USPS. That was this morning. We already knew about that. Let's see some of this crypto news. Larry Fink has just been on a crypto train recently.
We're seeing more and more legitimate long-only investors investing in it. There was an article about a foundation, endowment just bought a lot of IBIT. But I can tell you there are a number of sovereign funds that are standing by. They're adding incrementally at 120, at 100. I know they bought more in the 80s. Right. That's fine. And they're establishing a longer position. And you own it over years. This is not a trade. You own it for a purpose. We're seeing more and more legit.
Buying it in the 80s. I like that. Okay. But there was more than that. We also saw Brian Armstrong meeting up with Larry Fink, also talking about working with larger financial institutions. But Larry Fink said tokenization is the future, and Brian Armstrong obviously believes him. But look at the new style. I was thinking old guard versus new. Both of these guys extremely, wealthy in the financial space. You see the nice old dress shoes, and then what might be, I don't know. What are those? They're not Air Force Ones. I don't know what those are, but sneakers. Both very large in the financial space, but you can see the difference between this like knit wool sweater, and then a nice suit. Very funny how things change. Okay. Let's see. Institutions keep choosing Ethereum. Over the last month alone, BlackRock chose Ethereum, Fidelity, Swift, JP Morgan, Vanguard, Amundi, Visa, Standard Charter, Wisdom Tree, all picking Ethereum. However, guys, I don't think SoFi picked Ethereum. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest for a second. I don't think they did. This was another video I wanted to end up watching. Sorry, we're a little all over the map here, but I'm just going through my notes and things that I did want to watch and everything. I didn't end up getting to see this, but this was an interview with CrowdStrike CEO about their earnings.
Sometimes the cybersecurity stocks go out of style, but as I lay out on how to make money in any market, the cybersecurity business never goes out of style. The risk of being hacked is just too high, especially now that the bad guys have access to the tools, the artificial intelligence tools. Which brings me to CrowdStrike. It's a key position in my Travel Trust, has been for years. Reported what I thought was a pretty darn good quarter last night. Company posted a nice top and bottom line beat, while their net new annual recurring revenue, the key metric, came in at $265 million. Wall Street was only looking for $239 million. Maybe all you need to know. Of course, the stock temporarily pulled back in response to the quarter, but opening down at almost $20 before rebounding to finish up more than $8. And that's what almost always happens with CrowdStrike. And then the stock tends to bounce back. So let's take a closer look with George Kurtz. He's the co-founder, president, and CEO of CrowdStrike. To learn more about the quarter and what companies next, Mr. Kurtz, welcome back to Mad Money.
Great to be here, Jim.
Oh, thank you, George. Now, George, I'm going to do this interview a little different. This conference call I've got, I have to do the interview different because you see the trophies behind you? This was a trophy quarter. And you, who are very matter of fact about things, actually started the call by saying CrowdStrike's fantastic Q3. You were all in. This is a different kind of quarter, isn't it?
Jim, we had a monster quarter. If you look at our records, we had a record Q3 for annual recurring revenue. We had a record Q3 for free cash flow, almost 300 million. We had a record operating income. So when you look across the board, it was a monster quarter. We delivered broad-based success across all geographies, all platform modules. And I think it shows that CrowdStrike is the platform of choice in cybersecurity.
Now, you did something in the narrative that I thought was also very interesting. It was like you left crumbs. It was like Hansel and Gretel. Accenture, okay, F5, EY. These are all the appliance company F5, but these are all thought leaders, as if we were in medicine. And you want these thought leaders because they are not one and done. They are companies that delve out contracts in your behalf. Is that what happened? Do you have Accenture and EY just literally saying, listen, you got to go to CrowdStrike?
Well, that's it, Jim. We've invested in our partner and our channel community. And when you look at some of these global SIs, we've spent the time and effort to not only educate them, but enable them. They've got the relationships at the highest level in these enterprises. They're helping to make decisions and drive buying purchases for these large companies. So we're providing fantastic technology. They're able to wrap a lot of services around our technology. And really between us and our GSI partners and other partners, we're focused on giving customers outcomes, not just technology, but outcomes of stopping the breaches, saving money, saving time, reducing cost and complexity. And that's why all of these big partners are embracing CrowdStrike.
Is that also why Jensen Huang endorsed you as being the best?
Well, look, we've got a fantastic relationship, and you can't say AI without Jensen Huang and NVIDIA. And to be featured at his conference in Washington, D.C., I was there. We're the only security company that had its own slide and was called out by Jensen. Again, we've got the right technology. Not only that, we've got the right people behind it, and we have like minds. We're focused on solving customer problems and using AI in ways that haven't been contemplated before.
And is that why AWS said you're the best?
Well, AWS, longtime partner. We've talked about AWS for many, many years. I saw you had Matt Garman on last night. We're a part of reInvent. And what did we do there? This is actually, I think, a game changer. We are now integrated within AWS natively, where customers of AWS can use next-gen SIM. They can pull it up in their console. The billing will happen automatically through AWS. And really, we're going to drive a lot of momentum and new customer adoption because we're now part of the ecosystem there. And I think we give them a great competitive technology against some of the other hyperscalers that are out there. And look, they have their choice to pick whatever technology they want. They picked CrowdStrike.
Are these Kurtz to Matt, or is it Kurtz to Julie? I mean, in other words, are you sitting down with the tops of these companies and saying, listen, we have what you want? Because I know you as a guy who says, I'm going to make this contact. I'm going to get this done.
Well, it's absolutely true. I had dinner with Matt a few months ago. We talked about this. We talked about a lot of other things, our partnerships, how we can do more together, what's happening in the industry. When you see all the changes, you see how fast things are moving. And, it starts at the top, but it's all about people and relationships and doing what you say you're going to do and delivering the best value for customers. That's what Amazon and AWS is all about. And so that's what CrowdStrike is about as well.
You left another clue. You talked about a Fortune 500 consumer packaged goods company that happens to be involved with the displacement. Wiz being bought by Google. That deal is not closed. But when you've taught me that when you have this kind of company being bought by another company, that's your chance. Almost every consumer packaged goods company that I looked into during the Clorox terrible hack didn't seem to know what to do until you called them, even though they weren't your client. Is it this kind of thing where now Wiz is a place to be able to, and it could be even an annuity stream for you?
Well, whenever there's disruption in the market, whether it's in cloud security, whether it's in the SIM market, you name it, it's an opportunity for us because customers are looking for the best outcome. They're looking to consolidate. And if they have to make a choice or change vendors or, have to make contract decisions, it's a natural point for them to open it up to the market and say, what else is out there? And with our Flex contracts, we have many, many customers saying, we want CrowdStrike, we have Flex. We want to put it under a Flex contract, and we want to be able to use it and double down on CrowdStrike. And that's what we're seeing across the board, not only in cloud security, but certainly in next-gen SIM and in identity as well.
Okay, so how could there be a government contract with 75,000 endpoints of legacy coverage that goes to you? And just, what, did they just realize, wait a second, ours isn't up to date and we're concerned?
Well, Jim, if you look at the current administration, it's exciting because it's really for the first time that they're operating like a business. They want to consolidate. They want to save costs. They want to procure at the macro level, not just piece.
For real, is it just me? Dude, I'm actively trying to listen. They're saying nothing. I'm learning nothing. And Cramer is impossible to understand. Like, it actually sounds like he's been drinking or something. Like, he's a news anchor, and he's just like, his words are just, there's no space bar. It's just, all the words are just typed out in one long word. What's happening? I'm trying to understand what's going on. They haven't said a single thing about the business. Yeah, we're working hard, and we got to do what we need to do to get the customers happy. And what are you doing different? This is what I don't like about cloud security. Like, I don't say something. We do what we have to do. Okay, good. No. I'm going to trust everyone that says that. All right. I'm going to try to finish it out. I hope something good comes.
Parts. They have less people today than they had in the past. So they're going to need better outcomes. They're going to need better security. They want to save money for the American taxpayer. And CrowdStrike is a fantastic solution given the current threat environment. And we've seen how prolific the nation state actors are. And we're going to be there to help secure our national interests.
Okay, now the last thing I want to ask about is that people need to know, and it was questioned on the call. There was a good question, can't be dismissed. Why are we focused on ARR growth and not other things? Why is ARR growth accelerating to 73%, the metric, and not what you're doing in small, medium-sized business? Can you help our viewers understand, unlike the analyst, who's probably a nice person, that it is the right metric?
Well, it is the right metric, Jim. And, when we became public in 2019, we were literally one of the first companies to really disclose ARR. And we didn't focus on billings, which is kind of a noisy metric. Mm-hmm. And you see others trying to follow suit in annual recurring revenue. But basically, that is the health of the business. What is your annual recurring revenue, right? And the beauty of our model and the SaaS model is you keep layering new revenue on top of new revenue until you get to near 5 billion annual recurring revenue. So in the quarter, what we called out was 265 million of net new ARR, and that just keeps adding to our total. And again, the more you grow it, the bigger it gets, the stickier it gets, and you see the success in the numbers that we put up.
Well, this was the culmination of a lot. We didn't have to talk about any sort of thing that happened. I know something happened a year ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, we didn't have to talk about a single thing. You're right, Jim. And you guys didn't. The ARR part was, whatever. Like, of course, ARR is more important than any other metric than, like, billings. Like, yeah. Okay. Guys, I'm trying to learn. But, yeah. Someone needs to send me, like, good interviews that have happened. The Rubrik CEO is pretty good. I've seen some things where, he said some things that helped me understand the industry. But, yeah. If Jim Cramer was a drink, what would he be? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Okay. Yeah, come on now. Why do you track revenue? Like, what are we asking right now? I found that was like, the person that went on to talk about Upstart. Do you guys ever remember that clip? I think from time to time, we need to go back and watch that clip about that analyst that was asked, what does Upstart do? And he had no answer. And in fact, pretended like, the signal cut out and everything because he was so embarrassed to be giving a price target on a company that he doesn't even know what they do. That's what that felt like. I feel like Jim Cramer didn't have a clue about this business. And so he was like, yeah, I mean, you're doing well, right? Yeah, we're doing well. Oh, that's good. All right. Let's move on. I think I might be able to stay long enough to see Sentinel-1 and Rubrik's numbers. I'm not going to stay long enough for the call. It's just such a long stream. Amazon plans to cut ties with USPS. We've seen that. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the Stanley Druckenmiller conversation this morning, or that was shared a lot this morning. What else? Is Trump live? Is something happening today? There's no macro news today. There's no event. Play the Upstart clip. You haven't seen it? Oh, man. It is an all-time. Like, there's a couple clips that whenever you guys want to get into some things that have happened in history, you look at like the Carl Icahn, Bill Ackman, call-in event. I think that was CNBC. The Upstart analyst was another one. Upstart analyst, what do they do? Yeah, here it is. This is an all-time.
Putting money in right now include Upstart. That is one. So, well, Upstart's up about 25% just in 4 days. That's a good looking name. Very powerful, very strong earnings. These stocks are. What do they do? Really
very powerful, very strong earnings. It's up 20 something percent. What do they do?
I don't even know them. What do they do? Excuse me? What does Upstart do? Well, I'm sorry. What kind of company is it? Yeah, I'm not. You're breaking up.
Huh? What? And it goes on, bro. They cut that clip early. It goes on, and he's like, it's that you're break. I'm so sorry. And then they have to be like, oh, it seems like there's an audio issue. We had to let that analyst go. And you could tell that person's face was, that's bad. And honestly, it's not that hard to understand. Essentially, they're an AI business where they're trying to underwrite using LLMs rather than just, simply cash flow models or something like this. It's a very old video. Yeah, that's a very old video. That's whenever they were running up to like $400 a share. It became the biggest name on the market. But yeah. I forget that's not the CEO of Upstart. What's the CEO's name for Upstart? Dave Gerard? Am I right there? Dave Gerard? Something like that. Okay. Is it not David? It's just Dave. Dave Gerard. Yeah, it is so weird that some of these old heads get on and like I think about that sometimes. Like whenever Palantir is being talked about online, I'm like, why don't they just have a mid up there? Like he's a good talker. He knows this business way better than 99% of these analysts. It's like, does it look more professional to get some guy in a quarter zip vest that doesn't know the business? Is that a better look? Was that a better look for CNBC? I'm sorry. I can't hear you. All right. Yeah. No, honestly, that would have been so much cooler if he goes, "We have no clue. We love the momentum on the stock. We're playing it like it's a TA name for us. We think that there's an opportunity to buy. The chart looks great. We got no clue what they do." Then people would be like, "Man, that guy is." And then if you're right, which historically I don't think he was, but okay. Are you following Rubrik's earnings today? Not really. No, I don't know much about the company. I'd be that guy up there going, "Yeah, no, Rubrik looks like a really good play here, and the stock's going really." What do they do? Sorry, you cut out there. It's a comment on the YouTube channel. It's typed out in text. I can't say my vision's blurred. I just have a stroke. Do you guys remember that what's that video? I think it was Nigerian, one of these senators or something. He was caught and openly, like flogged in front of everyone about some scam that he was doing and taking money from the government. And he just pretended to faint mid thing. Is so clearly faked. But yeah. People do weird things whenever they're caught. Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid I've gone blind. Okay. Tanner, Sentinel-1 today. Yes. Yes. Sentinel-1 and Rubrik. Let's see what else. Let's have a look. So after earnings, or after the close today, we have Rubrik, Sentinel-1, DocuSign, Alta Beauty, Samsara, HP. Those are really the big names. Tomorrow, Victoria's Secret before the bell. Okay. Rubrik expecting about $320 million of EPS. I think that's true. Earnings Hub, I've seen sometimes mess up some of the numbers. Just the way that they're pulling the data has been a little bit weird before. But yeah. Okay. And then let's check what else we could find. Chance of a rate cut's back at 87%. We'll check fear and greed as well. Fear and greed. Fear's at 38, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! That's a bull market if I've seen one. We were back at like 5 or 4, like a few weeks ago. 38. I mean, sign me up. There we go. What do you think about DocuSign? I literally don't think that this company should exist. I don't understand. Like, you guys want to know something? And I don't know the answer to this, but I looked at it years ago. Let's hope that it was better. But I'm going to look up DocuSign employee count or head count. How many of you guys think it is off the top of your head? And now this is actually shrunk. According to what it says on Google right now, it's actually a lower number than I would have thought. How many employees do you think that they have? Just off the top of your head. Yeah, I legitimately would have thought like 1,500, something like that. Well, I checked this like I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. It was 8,000. Now they have 6.8 thousand employees. 6.8 thousand employees. Doing what? Doing what? This is why I don't think there's going to be any job loss. We'll just create jobs for the sake of it. 6,838 employees is the last recorded number. Well, sorry, that's as of January 31st, 2025. Doing what? Sales? Dude, it's a legit, like, yeah. Signing documents, they don't sign themselves? Wait, what do you mean? What are you trying to say here? The employees are not the ones signing the documents. I'm the one signing the documents. The clients are signing the documents. You know? How many employees are there at SpaceX? SpaceX employee count. 1,300. Okay, thank God. Thank God that was higher than DocuSign. Because if it was lower, I would have had to pay for a lot of new monitors. Jeez. Yeah, Enmos, honestly, I'm so close to banning you because honestly, you're way too good at trolling me. Like everything you say, I just take as fact, and then it just drives me nuts. But you are right, and you're not getting banned. Don't worry. But 13,000, sorry, 13,000. But honestly, that's what I think. Like, if Elon Musk went to go take over the DocuSign team, I wonder if they like cut like 6,000 jobs and then like try to keep the company afloat. Like, how well would you do? Yeah. Yeah, he is a top tier troller. I either have to mod him or I need to ban him. He's going to get one or the other. I don't know which one yet. I'll think on it. 13,000, not 1,300. I apologize. What's the bull case on SoundHound? I don't know if I can foresee them not having troubles against the OpenAIs and the Geminis and these sort of names that have just a million X resources, a million X connections with current customers and enterprises, and then also the ability to create, you have things like Notebook LM where you just feed it your own sources of data and it can create presentations, slides, and everything like this. And you don't think like, a year from now, you'll just be able to tell it like, hey, be a drive-through customer. Like, I just have a hard time seeing it. And I'm not saying that it can't be real. Like they definitely can. There's been small names like Spotify versus Apple Music or YouTube Music and stuff. They've just like made themselves they've made their product so good that it's hard to compete. But the interesting way that LLMs are created is you don't really need standalone products. You can tell large models to do small tasks. Even one of the things that Meta highlighted in their most recent earnings was they were like, hey, we have a bunch of these small models that are dedicated to like, Facebook ads or WhatsApp projects or something like this. And they said, honestly, where the direction of the market's going, we're actually just going to create one really big model that handles all our tasks, all our family of apps. And then so if you were to point something like against what SoundHound does, I just don't know how SoundHound even holds up. I could be wrong. QPUs will advance AI. Do you think QPUs will advance AI? I mean, yeah, potentially. Tanner, pourquoi no own TSMC? I don't know. I think the margins and the growth rates are higher at NVIDIA, so I've always just held more NVIDIA. Tanner, would you consider SoFi a buy here. I think there's so many future catalysts. So that's exciting. I think holding a stock for the long term and like not selling it is an active form of a buy. I think that there's more room to go. So yeah, I would say it's a buy here, but I'm not currently adding more, if that makes sense. Decipher that. Dan Ives dumped, or the Ives ETF dumped SoundHound. No, but yes. Okay, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page now. I'm not even like, you guys bet on SoundHound. That's fine. I'm not even gonna disrespect you for that, you know? Like, because it could be one of those names that just takes off, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I couldn't see it. But also, it scares me how many other industries that they're in. That also scares me. I feel like whenever I was watching them, I was like, where's the focus here? They're in financial services, automotive, hospitality, restaurants, everything like this. I'm like, you're kind of doing like the approach that I think OpenAI would do, but you don't have the resources or the tools that OpenAI does. So how does that work? You should be really focused, in my opinion. And I know what some of you guys are saying. Tanner, you don't have any experience in the business game. What do you know? And you got me there. And I don't. All right, next topic. They're doing the voice niche. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Is voice even a niche? Tanner, could you please discuss your portfolio share and percentage? I talk openly about all my positions and the percentages. But no, my actual portfolio and like a full breakdown, live updates every single day, buys and sells everything, that's all for course members only. But if you guys want to know about a position, if I hold it or not, I'm happy to tell you. I've got no qualms about that. Just trying to give sort of an advantage to my course members. Yeah, we can take a look at. I don't hold Rubric. I do hold Reddit. The Reddit's a very, very small position in my portfolio, but I think it's the only name that I'm purely investing in for advertising, like as a 100% trade right now for advertising. What percentage of the portfolio is SoFi? I think about 12% right now. Like really, 3 names in my portfolio make up for like nearly 70% of my portfolio. It's like NVIDIA 42%, Shopify about 18%, and then SoFi is about 12%. That's like a lot of it. And then, wow, Path is still jumping up here at the end. Like, this is incredible. Oh my God, cut back NVIDIA, dude. I can't. I just can't. And I even that, you know what's funny is I have just a little bit to buy Nebius. What do you mean by advertising for Reddit? So what I mean is that I like to bucket my share, like my investments, into the reasons why I've invested in them. So artificial intelligence, or a fintech trade, a crypto trade, for advertising, stuff like this. And advertising is a space that I really, really want to invest in right now. I think it's huge. I think AI only goes to expand it, and I think it's going to be like the conversion rate, the take rate on advertising is going to go through the roof. Like I'm thinking 3-5x the take rate meaning how much money that they can charge, Meta can charge, Reddit can charge for extremely personalized advertising using generative AI. Reddit is the only name that I consider a 100% advertising pick that's in my portfolio. There's a lot of pure advertising plays. You could look to, TTD or AppLovin or something like this that was in my portfolio previously. TTD is not tempting for me right now. Google is definitely an advertising name, but I think my percentage of advertising for Google is at about 55%. So it's not pure advertising. A lot of it is actually in AI and software and, a very, very, I think like 5% in fintech as well. But yeah. No energy in my portfolio, but I would not mind finding a name. Wealthmatic has been trying to get me on Zeta for a while. I honestly, you know what's holding me back is that I just realized that I want to have more names that own the customer. I wouldn't mind some marketing / advertising name in my portfolio. I don't mind that. But I really, really like owning the user, meaning like the end destination of where the customer is hanging out in. And that's Facebook, that's WhatsApp, that's Reddit, that's YouTube. That's where I think the moat is. And that's why I'm buying those. Amazon, another one, big advertising name for me, but it's not a pure advertising play. But also end user. Okay. Let's check Amazon on the day, down 1.6%. Meta up 3.38% on the news this morning. Why is this messing up? Some days it works great. Some days it just sucks. Up 3.3% on the idea that they are going to cut back on their metaverse spend. Yeah. But dude, Zeta looks good. I mean, I've listened to some of their earnings calls and the fireside chats and stuff. I mean, CEO sounds extremely competent. Business sounds great. But yeah. Yeah, I honestly don't think that's a thesis for me anymore. I've seen this countless times where advertising names, like that was TTD's that was their thesis. Customers come in, they use our product, they get a much better return on advertising spend or ROAS, and that's our advantage. And then, companies like Amazon come in and realize and make it so then, they have real competition. That felt like it happened overnight. It happened over a 2-quarter period. They went from 144 down to $38 or whatever TTD is at now. Probably a little bit above that now. 39. Oh, sorry, my bad. They went from 144 to $39. 144 to 39. So I'm not anti-Zeta. It's just really easy for me to bet on Amazon, Meta, Reddit, Google. And I just eat that up. Nom, 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 nom. Even PayPal, even their advertising thing, that is end user. Okay. Are you investing in Snow Mister? Please call me Tanner. No, I'm not. Not currently. It does look compelling, though. I mean, the earnings they put up versus the valuation, I'm like, why are they even going down? This doesn't even look bad. Not in drones. Definitely think that that's going to be a booming industry, one that's very small. So if you were to follow, what I really try to preach in investing, A small total addressable market that's growing extremely quickly, and I think is going to be, 100x, 1000x the size. Drones is definitely in there. But I also think that it's very understood by the market, and some of these drone companies have really ran. Like their valuations are insane. Same with like Joby and Archer and stuff. Like I think they're going to be big, but you're valuing them bigger than, like, we looked at American Airlines the other day, which, like, it's a decently big airline business, and they're $9.5 billion market cap. And then I look at Joby, which has no customers today. Like they're still trying to get their licenses here. They're 14.25 billion. It's like, how big does this get? Like it's nearly 40% bigger than American Airlines. And I've been on American Airlines. By the way, okay, wait. Is this controversial? I love American Airlines. Is that a controversy? I don't know what you guys think. Like, what's best? United, Southwest, American Airlines, what have you. American's been sick. I've always had an amazing time. Here's the I don't mean a real controversy. I just mean, like, who's your favorite team? Like, if you were to say, one company is better than another, or like one sports team's better than another, that could be controversial or something. That's sort of what I meant. I'm not actually saying there's a real controversy. Delta, a lot of Deltas in chat. A lot of Deltas. I didn't realize. Dude, Delta ended up delaying one of my flights whenever I was a kid for 19 hours. I'll never use them again. I had to sleep in an airport, like as a child. But maybe that was more of my dad's fault. I don't know. But yeah, cancel this guy. Now, American people don't know this, but there's an airline called Porter Airlines. It's a very small Canadian startup airline business. It's the greatest company. They have my full support. Who's this? Who are you? With the throw up symbol. I legit, if they gave me a hoodie, I'd wear it. Like, free advertising to Porter. They're the greatest airline of all time. But there's what do you call it? Air Canada, which is like our very popular airline, and that one actually sucks. Air Canada blows, and everyone knows it too. It's like whenever you're an American and you like talk about USPS, and like everything I've heard about USPS, I'm not an American, I've never experienced it. Everything I've heard about USPS is it's the worst thing ever. That's Air Canada. Okay. I heard that Spirit Airline, isn't that like a super budget airline that no one likes? Canada Post is also bad. UPS is worse than USPS? That is not what I've heard. Okay. Do you own American Airlines stock? No. That to me feels like a commodity, and I wouldn't want any part in that. It's not that it feels like a commodity. It is a commodity. I don't care for that business model at all. USPS or UPS. A lot of people saying UPS is the bad one. I mean, we have UPS up here. I've never had a problem. Amazon's launching their own postal service to compete with USPS. All right, we need to watch that video because they were talking about that this morning. I didn't hear about this. Okay, let's have a listen.
The new report says Amazon is considering breaking up with the post office. Just how realistic would that be? Our Frank Holland who covers the shipping business, is here with a closer look. Frank, what would this mean?
All right, so Sarah, let's break down the numbers very quickly. So Amazon generates about $6 billion in revenue for the post office this year, according to a Washington Post report. So the post office, it doesn't want to lose Amazon's business, but it could look to change the dynamic between the two companies. So the big question is, can Amazon really break up with the post office? Well, the answer on paper, at least, is yes. The company actually just announced a $4 billion investment in quote unquote expanding rural delivery last quarter. However, last mile delivery has very thin margins, especially when you get outside of dense urban areas. Profitability of those deliveries, that would be a real question for Amazon. And it would also have to be profitable for the delivery service partners. Those are contractors, outside contractors that operate the blue vans you see in your neighborhood. Now, we do know the number of those workers has increased by 76% since 2023, but I'm told the majority of that growth is in dense and more profitable areas. So Amazon sent CNBC a statement saying in part, we continue to discuss ways to extend our partnership that would increase our spend with the post office, of course. We were surprised to hear they want to run an auction after nearly a year of negotiation, so we still have a lot to work through. We're evaluating all of our options. Amazon's concern is their delivery network, of course. Now, I want to go back to that auction line for just a second. That refers to comments from the new Postmaster General, who has talked very openly about, quote unquote, democratizing package service agreements for smaller and regional players as opposed to bigger players like Amazon. Amazon, it benefits in those agreements where it gets faster delivery time, it gets their volume through the system faster. The Postmaster General has talked about democratizing it, nothing official yet, but clearly a lot of tension between these two sides.
Is the takeaway that if they really were to start building a more advanced delivery network, ex-USPS, that CapEx would have to go markedly higher?
I mean, CapEx would definitely have to go higher, but according to all the estimates out there, Amazon doesn't tell us directly, but a lot of companies that track Amazon, they are building out their facilities. So yes, it would certainly require more CapEx, but also it would have to be profitable for the people that run those blue vans. Those routes are basically contracted out to them. They have to figure out a way to make money on.
All right, I guess a break.
I mean, for real, let Amazon keep spending the capital expenditures. Like, I think that just goes to strengthen their moat. That they're the only company that's even brave enough to say, hey, we can compete with USPS. I think that only just goes to strengthen how big that business is. Am I crazy? Amazon definitely can do it. I think it only goes to strengthen who they are. Kind of cool. Postmaster General is great. I like that a lot. Man, but that's exactly what I mean by owning the customer. What I love about Amazon is they can, like UPS, FedEx, those might be great businesses, but they are beholden to what Amazon decides. They just literally sit on their hands and go, okay, well, we'll wait for you to, like, we're not going to try to make an e-commerce store to compete with you. So we have to hope that other startups start building to fight against Amazon to keep our business alive. If Amazon decides to buy more planes and more, last mile delivery trucks and does it themselves. That's incredible. Huh? USPS is amazing. Okay, this dude's like, you work there or something? You get your USPS pension? I've heard nothing but bad things. No, Amit's not streaming today, is what I've heard in the chat. If he is, and I'm pulling, what I heard is that he's not streaming today. He said that in his morning stream. Okay, he's at an event. Ooh. I want to go to CES. That's what I want to go to. I think I would love to go to CES and see all the technology there. You know what's funny? I actually can't do the market close. I might have to send an email really quick. I do have a 4 o'clock, and I just got the thing on my phone. Ugh. Let me see if I can push it off for 15 minutes or something, and that way we can just at least see the numbers for Rubrik and Sentinel-1 and those ones together. I have to send a can you push Okay. We'll see. You said this was your job. I promise you this is for my job. Yeah. YouTube involves having meetings. It's funny. But I want to get good interviews, and good interviews require maybe one day meeting with some CEOs, and those CEOs require you meet with their investor relations guys, and those investor relations guys want to know that you have your screws tightened or whatever. So, yeah. But that being said, you guys come first. So I'm going to push it off 15 minutes, see what we can do there. I don't have a bell ready. I have a water bottle ready, which is what we did last time. Yeah. Okay. Fear and greed is still at 38. What a change from where we were before. Tonight we have DocuSign, Sentinel-1, Ulta Beauty, Rubrik, Samsara, and HP. If you guys are also interested in things like Service Titan, we can add that as well. But those will be the names that I'm looking to get numbers on at the close. Let's go ahead and add those now. And I will share my screen. Okay. Boom. We can also go through expectations for these companies. And I'll bring up some... I don't even have DocuSign saved on my watch list. That's funny. Yeah, for the new people that are coming in, we were talking about, how many employees that DocuSign has. 6,800 or something like this. 6,300. Absolutely incredible. Help you set up a SaaS for signing documents, which Microsoft and Adobe and Google are giving out for free. Obviously, there's additional services. People aren't just randomly throwing away money. I'm completely aware of that, but that is a lot of employees for what they do. Yeah, for DocuSign. Yeah. 6,000 plus employees. Refugees Unite. Amit Refugee, you're a member. Welcome, though, guys. I'll be your substitute teacher for the day. All right. And then I'll get you back to your regularly scheduled Amit for tomorrow morning. Don't you worry. Hopefully we can make you laugh, make you cry, make you feel all those feelings that you want to feel while watching the markets burn up into the close. Let's have a look at the SPY. Nice little pump, potentially going green into the close. We'll see. Completely flat on the day. The triple Qs, the NASDAQ 100, down just 0.17%. NVIDIA up 2%. Nice. What else? Meta up 3.6. Amazon up 1.4. Sorry, negative 1.4. And Google down 0.77%. Tough day. Rubrik down 1% going into their earnings today. Quite the shoot up midday. I wonder what had actually brought them from 69.68 all the way up to 71.94. That's quite the swing on the day. But they're down before earnings. Sentinel-1 is up before their earnings. And we will monitor those. BM&R. What's BM&R doing today? Are they one of the big winners? Look at this, though. Honestly, that's a full watch list of companies that are above 10% today. UiPath leading the charge. They had earnings yesterday, completely crushed it, up 25%. ASTS up 18.5%. Oklo up 16%. Rigetti, D-Wave, IonQ, all up nearly 12 to 15%. Bloom Energy, SMR, whereas Oklo also around that 12 to 16% up on the day. Quite interesting. Big changes. Okay. Let's see what else is happening. The big news of the day, honestly, was Meta today. They're cutting back around 30% on their metaverse spend. That jumped up the stock. And then we also saw a report on Meta from Wall Street. Let's see what fund it was again. I just have to remember. Mizuho. Mizuho upgraded them to an outperformance with a price target of $815. So 12 months from now, with a bull case of 1245. So, up nearly 90% as a bull case for Meta going forward. Ethereum's down 0.9. SoFi as well. Oops, sorry. Let's change that. SoFi up 1.7%. BNR up 6.6%. Yeah, that's a nice day. 35.89. Guys, that's a pretty freaking big move from where we were at the bottom. Like this was under $25 within this month. 24.33. Okay? They ended up showing off earnings, which was essentially just saying, hey, we're diluting a lot, but we're also going to be doing staking in the early half of 2026. And then that began the run back to $35.95 and potentially going to close out around $36 here at the close. Oops, sorry. There we go. That's a pretty incredible run since the algos ended up just selling off midday around 2:30. Everything just started tanking. Crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? The SPY, Qs, all big tech, everything just sold off midday. We will see. IREN, slight little drop before the close, but up 5.5%. No one's complaining about that. Chime, this is a name that I've been trying to promote to people. Was trying to get a mitt on this name. Up an additional 5%. We were buying at $16.50. So I'll continue to monitor that. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for me, but so far, I mean, so good. All right. What else is working? SoundHound up 8%. CoreWeave up 8%. Hims just bought LiveWell, a telecommunications or telehealth business in Canada, trying to get their products out into more of the Canadian market. And then my audience discovered that I have low testosterone, and then I got made fun of midstream. We're back, okay? It's all good. Maybe I'll be a customer of Hims. Who knows? Then Nebius up 3.9%, 102.80. Has been a name that I've been consistently betting on and doubling down on. But yeah. Prepare for the water bottle Temu bell. Oh gosh, if you guys haven't heard this, it is not the Amit experience, and I apologize. I said low. All right. Anyway. Don't you own Hims? Absolutely not. No, I don't own a single healthcare, pharmaceutical name, nothing along those lines. I'm only in artificial intelligence names, fintech, and advertising. Those are like the three parts of my portfolio that I think are really, I'm really confident in. 15 seconds till the end of the day. Let's head over to the SPY, which is running into the close, keeping it positive. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great stream, extremely long. Happy for all of you guys to be here, but the market, that is so bad, dude, is now closed. All right. I don't have a bell, and I apologize for that. It's a metal water bottle with a metal straw. That's as good as it's going to get. Stay hydrated. Okay, the SPY ended up closing up. The QQQs are down, but let's focus on the next part of the market. Rubrik is now up 0.2% in the close. Sentinel-1. Let's switch over to recent as well. So we have Rubrik, Sentinel-1. Let's get a list here. DocuSign. This is another one for the day. Sentinel-1 Oh, Rubrik up 1.4%. Maybe we have numbers. I'll keep an eye out. Well, I look for numbers here. Let's also just plug Ulta Beauty. Okay. Rubrik up 1.4%. That's holding. HPE as well. Okay, now the fun begins. I'm also going to add Service Titan because that one might also be exciting. Up 1.7% on Service Titan. Okay. My brother runs a plumbing business and he swears by Service Titan. So might be an interesting name. Okay, let's go hunting for those numbers. Rubrik still up 1.4%. That's the big name that I'm following today, and SentinelOne. I currently don't have any cybersecurity in my portfolio, but we're keeping an eye on it. Quick update. Kevin Hassett just said that he believes that there's going to be a rate cut in the December 10th meeting. That's quite interesting. Let's see. What did he whisper to Jerome Powell? Like, hey, if you don't want me to fire all of your friends, then you better... No, it doesn't work like that, but still. He's going to be the next Fed chair. I believe it. Okay. One quick second. Let me... I didn't even check if my 4 o'clock... Okay, thank gosh. Thank gosh. My meeting ended up getting pushed. So I have roughly 15 minutes with you guys, and then I'll have to go. I don't have any numbers yet. Let me know what you guys see in the chat. Service Titans up 1.7%. Rubrik up 0.7%. SentinelOne. Maybe just some jitters here. We're not seeing anything pop too much. Might just be some jitters. Very low volume on these names so far. Let's see what we get. Okay. I don't like ServiceNow. ServiceNow and Service Titan, two different businesses. This is Service Titan. Okay, which Service Titan's still up 1.68%, but zero volume to try to push it in any other direction. Rubrik up 1%. Let me just double check if they are expected to release right near the bell. Rubrik is expected to show at 4:01. We should have these numbers. Let's see here. Nope, I don't have anything just yet, and the market's not really reacting just yet, so maybe we're still waiting. It doesn't look like Bloomberg has anything just yet. Okay. Is there any other names that are reporting today that might be interesting? Not really. IDT, Cooper Companies. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, if you guys do see it, let me know, but we're not really seeing much right now. I can also check Rubrik's website and just maybe they have reported it and it's just, bang on, no beats or misses. And so the market's not really reacting to on-point news. Yeah, it's not on their website. I don't see it here. SEC filings. Yeah, it's not posted there either. Okay, so we don't have it on their website yet either. Okay. Well, hopefully we get the numbers before I have to go. Oh, there we go. Wow. Wow. Up 6%. Ulta Beauty up 4%. There's the pop. Okay, here we go. Clearly, Rubrik is being loved right now. SentinelOne up 2%. Hewlett Packard up 2%. It was like it all just happened in the exact same candle. That was crazy. Rubrik up 9% now. $77. Who has this name? Yep, the numbers, I think, have come in. Okay, I have them now. Wow. They were expecting negative 17 cents of EPS. They got 10 cents positive on EPS. EPS is up 148% year over year. Revenue on Rubrik grew 48% year over year, beat by an additional 9%. They were expecting revenue of $320 million. They got $350 million. That's a powerhouse. Holy. Rubrik is a very special name. Sentinel-1 down 5. Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't have the numbers for Sentinel-1 just yet. It's only Rubrik that's come in so far. Okay. Rubrik now sitting at $76.50, up 8.7% now. Maybe trying to push for another new aftermarket high. Argent down 9%. ServiceNow is flat. Everything else is roughly flat except for Ulta Beauty up 4%, DocuSign up 3%, Sentinel-1 down 5%, and Rubrik up 8%, being the big winner of the day. DocuSign numbers came in, beat by 10% on EPS. $1 of EPS versus 92 cents expected. EPS is up 12% year over year. Revenue up 8% year over year, beating by 1%. Okay. Very, very cool. Ulta Beauty ended up beating on EPS by 11%, flat year over year. And revenue, that was EPS. Revenue beat by 6%. Revenue is up 13% year over year. Sentinel-1, why the heck is this down so much? It's down 6%, double beat. EPS beat by 40%. EPS was flat year over year. That can't be right. And revenue up 23% year over year. No, that looks like it's written wrong. Maybe that's why it's selling off. If the reports are coming in just a little bit weird right now, then maybe it's just... No, that can't be it. It wouldn't be still sold off this much. Yeah, it's getting worse. 8.7%. Rubrik up 7%. That's quite the divergence in these, in these cybersecurity names. Sentinel-1, like whenever you look at their growth and then the multiple versus something like CrowdStrike, it looks so compelling. But then you look at these constant quarters that they have, and the markets just continue to seem to be disappointed quarter after quarter on Sentinel-1. And you have to think, is it worth it if they're going to put up, not very large surprises and they're going to say things in their earnings that people are not excited to see? We're going to get more information on these companies here in a second, but those are just the rough top and bottom line numbers that we got so far. Okay. Microsoft is going to raise their 365 plan starting July 1st, 2026. Just reported, well, actually about an hour ago. But Rubrik pushing up to new highs, 77.25. Let's see if I can get their quarter up here. Okay. Let's see what the CEO had to say, if anything. Okay. ARR, subscription ARR for or annual recurring revenue for Rubrik up 34% year over year. They're partnering and got partner of the year with Microsoft and Google Cloud and have over an 80 net promoter score. Top 1% of enterprise software companies. Rubrik up 9.3%. They are the clear winner of the day. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's see if we have anything else out. Oh, ChargePoint also came out today. Here, wait, let's check ChargePoint. ChargePoint flat on the day. Not even worth looking at. Let's go back to here. Okay. Let's find some more of their numbers. Cloud average or annual recurring revenue for Rubrik, 53% year over year. Average subscription net dollar retention, 120%, over 120%. They have 2,638 customers with over $100,000 in subscriptions with them, on an annual recurring basis, gross margins of 83%, net promoter score over 80%. This is a very, very strong business. That's incredible. That cloud growth is really fast. 53% annual recurring cloud growth. I guess that's what happens, right? Like, you grow all these AI names, Azure, Google, Amazon Web Services, they're all skyrocketing. And, you know, you have to skyrocket too. When did my camera die? Has my camera been out for a while? Okay. Sorry, my battery is shot. Okay. 1 minute ago? Okay, good. It'll come on in a sec. Just switch out the battery. Okay, full year guidance on Rubrik. I don't have any growth rates here, but we can just do the math really quick. Or no, that would only be quarter over quarter. Let's see if I can find their year over year things, but this might be a little too long because I have to go here in 3 minutes. Okay. Are we getting here? What is Rubrik's? Yeah, so revenue grew 48% year over year. That's just incredible, man. Rubrik. What do you guys think? Should we end up getting a position in a cloud security name or cybersecurity name? And if so, is Rubrik the position to sort of get into? It's definitely the one even before this quarter that I had heard the most about, that this was the up-and-coming name. I had heard this for probably the last 6 months. Let's just take a look at the last 6 months. Hey, I mean, we'll be back up to probably about this price right here, $77. But historically been at 103 previously. I mean, honestly, I didn't realize that this was actually kind of been selling off the last couple of months, since June, just continuously selling off. That's pretty surprising to me. Yeah, put the growth up against CrowdStrike. Yeah, maybe we should do a video on that soon. Like maybe that'll be this Fiscal Friday show. Okay. And take a look at this. The numbers are already up on Fiscal AI. So you can see their growth, year over year growth rates on what they've done recently. So 51% year over year last quarter, this quarter 48%, still very high. But it's a matter of their expectations, which right now, Wall Street has them at 325 million. But they are actually saying 342 million. So 342 would be a little bit less than October's month, but not like they're essentially putting it at 20 million more. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry, but I do have to get going. I have a hard cutoff at 4:15. I actually had a hard cutoff at 4, but I pushed it. I can't push it any longer. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you guys are new here, I thank you so much for your time, but that's all for me today. Usually we do a midday stream, roughly about starting at noon or 1 o'clock, depending on whatever you guys prefer. But until next time, bye for now.